Chapter 1778. University Gathering. When the young geniuses of the vast celestial ancient city had gone to the holy city, the vast celestial ancient city was left rather quiet. But now more and more people were coming back, because of the historical remains of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. People from the entire region of the Dark Night wanted to go and see it. However, it wasn't easy to get there. It wasn't where the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was located before. It was quite far away in a desolate place. Nobody had thought the place would be that far away. The palace which had appeared in the past had just been a way to trick people. Many people remembered the Taoist monk, though, who had stolen a statue, which probably contained precious treasures. Some people even said that they had seen him at the grave, but nobody had been able to check whether it was true or not. In any case, few people could go into the grave. It was because outside of the grave, there were terrifying deployment spells. Many deployment spellcasters were going there now. They wanted to see if they could get in. The gigantic tomb had appeared in a wild and unpopulated area. It was massive in size. However, people stayed far away, because of the deployment spells. In the distance on a mountain range, there were many people watching. Even though they looked indifferent on the inside, they couldn't keep calm. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave might contain incredible treasures. If someone managed to get in, they'd obtain them. Unfortunately, the entrance was completely blocked. Nobody could get in. At the top of another mountain, there were two people, a beautiful woman, and a demonic-looking man in black clothes. Those two people were Empress Shi and the Netherworld Demon Emperor. I wouldn't have thought that the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had time to hide things in this grave back then. You said you saw Yendi and Shuiyu back then? Empress Shi asked the Netherworld Demon Emperor. The Demon Emperor nodded. He had seen Lin Feng and Yendi. It means that Yendi didn't really die then. He came back to life. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave probably contains treasures for him. I think that the one who showed up in the Moon Palace last time was Yendi. Empress Shi said calmly. The Netherworld Demon Emperor looked emotionless. He just evenly replied, indeed. Maybe that it was Yendi. Considering his strength back then, now that he came back to life, he's probably going to become extremely strong again. So what? We have so many strong cultivators under our control. Yendi can't do anything, said Empress Shi, her eyes twinkling. The Netherworld Demon Emperor and Empress Shi had died once as well. They were very determined and persistent. Cultivation was the only thing that mattered to them. They had to become peerless cultivators. Let's go back. The deployment spells are too difficult to break, said Empress Shi before turning to leave. The Netherworld Demon Emperor followed her, and both disappeared into the horizon. Outside of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan grave, the wilds were vast. Apart from the deployment spells, some people also found some treasures. Back then, when the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had created that place, they had broken the ground, and inside were many outer palaces, in which there were treasures. In the distance, some people appeared, a group of young adults. They were wearing uniforms, and looked both strong and determined. How strong? Those young people are only emperors, but they seem so strong. I wonder where they're from, thought the crowd. People from Tianyuan. I saw that uniform a long time ago. That's the uniform of the Yinxiao University in Tianyuan, said someone. They were surprised. Surprisingly, people from Yinxiao University were there. They came from one of the three main cities of the region. Many people looked at them. Universities in the continent of the Nine Clouds were holy places. The three main cities of the region had universities and many extremely strong cultivators. Often, their students became terrifying cultivators who amazed whole cities, regions, and sometimes the whole world. Everybody respected them. Yinxiao University's students were enthusiastic. People got excited as well when seeing them, as if it were contagious. I wouldn't have thought that they'd come, at least not so fast. They come from so far away. But I've heard that their news system is quite good. It seems that it's true, thought the crowd. More people are coming, thought the crowd, gazing into the distance. There was a group of young men again, also looking incredible. They didn't wear uniforms though, so they didn't look as strict. People from Yinxiao are so fast, said someone in the crowd. People from Yinxiao University were in the crowd too. They looked at the people who were coming. Goblin Spirit University. Goblin Spirit University, they're fast too, said someone from Yunxiao University. People looked at one another with flames in their eyes. In total, in the 3 main cities, there were 10 universities. When students from different universities met, they were in competition. They all wanted to prove their university was the best. Goblin Spirit University. The crowd was shocked. According to legends, the strong cultivators of Goblin Spirit University all had a bestial soul. The university was very special. They only accepted people with an animal soul. Their students were incredibly strong. The crowd hadn't thought that so many people would come because of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave. People from all universities were arriving. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was quite famous. Everybody knew about the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Unfortunately, they had been destroyed a long time ago, and now some people were going to steal their treasures. There were more and more people. The air was becoming more and more lively. An ocean of people was gradually appearing. At that moment, a few hundreds of kilometers away, there was a group of people on a boat. They were flying at great speed above the clouds. As they approached, the clouds disappeared and they saw the grave. They were all amazed, wondering what was inside. Lin Feng, your boat was so fast. Maybe that we're the first ones from the holy city. Tantai exclaimed happily. Lin Feng's boat was very fast and extremely useful. Let's go and see, said Lin Feng with a smile. The boat descended from the sky. Many people noticed them arriving. Another group of extraordinary-looking young people. People easily guessed that these people were also from a university. That's Lin Feng, said someone at that moment. In the vast celestial ancient city, many people knew Lin Feng. Surprisingly, Lin Feng was there again. The young man who had been abandoned by the gods by the ice moon lake was back. Many people from the vast celestial ancient city recognized Lin Feng, as he had done many things there. At that moment, the crowd looked at Lin Feng strangely. Was Lin Feng a university student? I wonder which university they belonged to. Surprisingly, Lin Feng is also a student now, and he's back in the vast celestial ancient city. Not only Lin Feng, Qing Feng, Wu Xuan, they're all here. Those are strong cultivators from the vast celestial ancient city. The people murmured when they saw Wu, Qing Feng, and the others. What university are you from? Everybody was staring at Lin Feng and the others. They looked like heroes. You're not from the holy city. Which university? Asked Qin Wu of some students who were there already. You're impolite. I asked you first. Why not reply? The other retorted. University students were competitors above all. Tantai frowned and said coldly, we're just asking. What's the problem with that? You just want to fight, don't you? Humph. That person smiled in a cold way and said, so what? You. Tantai was furious already. Qin Wu intervened. From your clothes, you must be from Yunxiao University. You're smart, said that person sarcastically. We didn't come to fight verbally, Ho Qinglin said, barely glancing at those people. Then he looked at the grave. He didn't care about these people. Chapter 1779. Meeting Irun again. Palace. Ancient Golden Road deployment spell. Lin Feng glanced around. The grave looked like a palace. It was gigantic and magnificent. The deployment spells around it were frightening. People couldn't break it relying on brute strength. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was very famous back then because they were incredibly strong. It wasn't an undeserved reputation. Back then, the leader of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was terrifying. He was as strong as many other great emperors. The clan was quite famous, notably for their deployment spells, which could destroy heaven and earth. Since the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's grave had appeared here, it meant that they wanted people to find it. But it probably wasn't easy to get in. They had prepared. But the only way to get into the palace seemed to be via the ancient golden road they had in front of them. The ancient golden road led to the palace and was divided into several small roads. They all had marks on them of deployment spells. At that moment, many deployment spellcasters were there and studying the deployment spells. They wanted to understand how they worked so they could get inside. There are 9 paths. Each of them has a deployment spell, and the deployment spells are all different, thought Lin Feng. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's deployment spells were incredibly powerful. The everlasting Celestial Emperor was famous for his deployment spells in Xixiang City, but maybe that he had learned them from the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Yen Di was the prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. No wonder he had chased the everlasting Celestial Emperor back then. If you walk on those paths, the deployment spells get more and more dangerous as you go forwards. There are thousands of deadly deployment spells. Getting inside will be extremely difficult, said a deployment spellcaster at that moment. The crowd was shocked. Thousands of deployment spells on those paths? How deadly! At the end of each path, there's an entrance, but is there the same thing behind each entrance? Asked Tianqi at that moment. Possibly not, said Ho Qinglin, staring at the paths. They were different, so they probably led to different places. I don't know which deployment spell we can break, so first let's wait and observe, said Lin Feng. Then, the group of friends moved away and stopped in the distance. The 9 paths contain mighty deployment spells. Getting in wouldn't be easy, and they didn't even know which path was the right one. Lin Feng and the others weren't the only ones who did that. Many other strong cultivators decided to stay far away and observe first. It could be dangerous. Time passed. More and more strong cultivators showed up. People from the 4 universities of the Holy City were there already, including more people from Champion University. Such beautiful women! Tantai exclaimed. 9 beautiful women had arrived. They looked like celestial beings. Even the university students were impressed. Those must be the women of the Moon Palace. They're so beautiful like celestial beings, said Qinglin. Ho Qinglin and Tianqi were surprised. They recognized one of them. Yiren Lei, murmured Ho Qinglin and Tianqi. That was Yiren Lei from the Heavens of Desire's palace. Surprisingly, she had become one of the celestial beings of the Moon Palace. Qing Feng looked at Lin Feng. On that night, she had heard Lin Feng and Yiren Lei's dialogue. Ho Qinglin and Tianqi were Lin Feng's friends. They knew Yiren Lei too. They seemingly knew each other from before. Yiren Lei heard her name and turned her head. She saw Ho Qinglin, Tianqi, and Lin Feng. When she saw Lin Feng, she shivered. Her beautiful eyes twinkled. She couldn't remain indifferent to him. Lin Feng looked enigmatic, unfathomable, calm, and serene, as if nothing could affect him. Lin Feng, whispered Yiren Lei. However, Lin Feng just calmly nodded back at her. Yiren the Celestial Girl. Yiren the Celestial Girl. Yiren the Celestial Girl felt so sad, but she still smiled at Lin Feng. Ho Qinglin and Tianqi also nodded at her, and then turned to the other celestial women. They were all extremely beautiful. Yun Qingyan looked at Yiren Lei, and then smiled at Lin Feng knowingly. She likes you. Lin Feng frowned. He didn't look at Yun Qingyan, but shook his head. Don't talk nonsense. I'm a woman. I understand women. She likes you. You heard her? Yun Qingyan smiled mischievously, but Lin Feng ignored her. Yiren Lei is a celestial being from the Moon Palace. She understands deployment spells. Tianqi saw Yiren Lei, and the other celestial women start investigating the deployment spells. They must be really good at deployment spells, but maybe that they also studied the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, which allow cultivators to modify strength. If I'm not mistaken, those women are pillars of the Moon Palace, whispered Lin Feng. In the Moon Palace, there were many books, terrifying great imperial skills and techniques, and ancient holy scriptures. If the Moon Palace wanted, they could raise terrifying geniuses. The celestial women of the Moon Palace were all talented and extraordinary. It seems that we people from the small world will all have bright future, Ho Qinglin said under his breath. Where were the others, though? The 9 women chose a path and started walking forwards, easily avoiding the deployment spells. They're using a group spell. How strong, thought Yun Qingyan. The 9 women were using a group spell. They really did understand deployment spells. At that moment, many people looked at the path they had chosen. Were the celestial women really going to use that path? Actually, the deployment spells of that path weren't that easy to solve. Each step was difficult. Even for the celestial women of the Moon Palace, it was getting more and more difficult. Some time passed, a few days went by. Lin Feng was staring at the women. Gradually, People started trying to solve the mysteries of the 9 golden paths, using their godly awareness. During those days, more and more people also arrived. Many people from Champion University were there, including people from Ji Chang's club. When the members of Ji Chang's club saw Lin Feng and his friends, they landed on another mountain. "Those morons are everywhere," said a member of the star group scathingly Lin Feng, and the others ignored them. "They're acting recklessly. They want to die here," someone else shouted out. The members of the star group were proud and arrogant. However, being oppressed by Tiantai made them furious. Now that they had made an alliance with the Yu clan, would Tiantai continue acting arrogantly? "There are dogs everywhere, including at Champion University," retorted Tiantai coldly. "A deployment spell is almost broken," someone else interrupted at that moment. The crowd looked to the celestial women. The 9 girls had joined hands with some deployment spellcasters, and they had almost reached the end of the path. Would they be able to break the deployment spell at the end? Bzz. At that moment, silhouettes flickered and solidified, and more people from the Moon Palace arrived. Empress Shi and the 9 Netherworld's emperor were still together. At the same time, a dazzling light appeared. A golden door at the end of a path opened itself. Dazzling golden lights illuminated the path. The deployment spells turned into illusions. Many people rushed over there. As the Moon Place people went inside, the crowd was going insane and running towards the gate. However, the marks suddenly changed again, the sky rumbled, the gate closed itself, and a terrifying energy exploded out, killing some people instantly. "The path is closed again. The deployment spells are reappearing," thought the crowd, unhappy at the news. Many people retreated as fast as they could. "Lin Feng, how did you know?" Qin Wu asked Lin Feng. A moment before, Lin Feng had prevented them from going in. "I didn't know, but if the door opens itself again, we'll need to be cautious before going in," whispered Lin Feng. Qin Wu and the others' eyes twinkled. "Cautious, right? Everybody, let's join hands," said someone at that moment. Some deployment spellcasters were getting ready to join hands, since that's what the celestial women of the Moon Palace and some other people had done. The deployment spellcasters started discussing the issue, and were getting ready to break the deployment spells of the other paths. At the same time, some people walked to the path on which the celestial beings had broken the deployment spells. They wanted to benefit from their knowledge. "The deployment spells changed," said some people on the path. The deployment spells on that golden path had already shifted. "Come with me," Lin Feng said, and started forward, jumping onto the path which had been opened by the celestial women of the Moon Palace. Suddenly, dazzling lights invaded the air, and the deadly deployment spells dispersed again. Lin Feng had taken 9 steps. The deployment spells were changing. Lin Feng noticed that people couldn't necessarily walk on the same paths as before. Chapter 1780. Entering the ancient palace. What a strange golden path, thought Lin Feng, slowly walking forwards. He could sense the strength of the deployment spells. There were millions and millions of marks on the paths. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's deployment spells were indeed awesome. At that moment, many people suddenly ran towards Lin Feng and watched him closely. Each time Lin Feng made a step, the marks changed. They had to break the deployment spells to move forward, step by step. "This student from Champion University knows about deployment spells," thought the students of Yunxiao University, staring at Lin Feng. Since Lin Feng's friends were following him, it meant that other people could follow him. Yuan Ho, Ji Wuyo, and the others were also fixedly staring at Lin Feng. Surprisingly, that guy could walk on the golden path. "Come with me." Silhouettes flickered. The students of Yunxiao University landed behind Lin Feng and the others. The golden paths were mysterious. After breaking the deployment spells, they could reappear, so they wanted to benefit from Lin Feng's knowledge. If he could break the deployment spells, why not follow him? Yunxiao University's students weren't the only ones to think that way. Yuan Ho and the others followed him too. Lin Feng could break deployment spells, so they didn't need to worry about anything with him in the lead. While Lin Feng was breaking the deployment spells, he frowned. He turned around and looked at the crowd. If he broke the deployment spells, not only would these people force the entry into the palace, but they would also attack him by surprise and steal some treasures from him. When they saw that Lin Feng had stopped, they looked at him coldly. Lin Feng said, "Leave the path or I won't continue." The crowd frowned and looked angry. "Little bastard, you're breaking the deployment spell, and we're not disturbing you. What's the problem?" said someone from Yunxiao University coldly. "Do you want to die now?" Ji Wuyo demanded coldly. His eyes were filled with murder. "Piss off," said Lin Feng coldly. Ji Wuyo grimaced. Dazzling dragon lights appeared around him, and he released a powerful qi. "How arrogant!" shouted the strong cultivator from Yunxiao University. He jumped forwards and immediately attacked in the direction of Lin Feng's friends. He wanted to teach them a good lesson. Lin Feng suddenly jumped up, and lights appeared. The golden path abruptly became dazzlingly bright, and a terrifying strength emerged. Boom boom! That strong cultivator's attack immediately disappeared. The golden path was still shining as golden blades descended from the sky. The student from Yunxiao University was stupefied. How could Lin Feng use the deployment spells of the path that easily? He retreated at full speed. Lin Feng laughed furiously. In a flash, the golden lights turned into a cage and imprisoned the cultivator. People's facial expressions changed drastically. "Cut!" Lin Feng shouted furiously. The golden lights became blinding and turned into deadly energies which invaded the cage. The crowd retreated quickly as the air started exploding. The strong cultivator who was inside the cage turned into a bloody cloud, and the cosmic energies dispersed. The crowd was astonished. That guy was at the top of the low Huang Qi layer, and the deployment spell had crushed him. That golden road is strange, thought the crowd, staring at it. As it moved further along, the deployment spells were getting more and more dangerous, yet Lin Feng moved on it freely. It seemed easy for him to use them, or destroy them. They were only at the beginning of the path, but the energies were already terrifying. "Piss off!" Lin Feng shouted at Ji Wuyo and the others coldly. "Arrogant little boy." The crowd looked at him with murder in their eyes, especially Ji Wuyo. Lin Feng glanced back at him disdainfully. A dragon suddenly started chanting. Ji Wuyo waved his hand, and a cyan-scaled dragon appeared as a light beam moved towards Lin Feng and the others. That gigantic dragon could injure, or even kill Lin Feng and his friends. Lin Feng jumped up, and on the golden path, a gigantic and terrifying web appeared, and surrounded the gigantic cyan dragon. Dazzling lights appeared, and the cyan dragon exploded. Blood splashed everywhere. The G-Clan cyan dragon totem is incredible. It is made of flesh like a real dragon, thought the crowd with a sigh. However, the deployment spells of the path were even more terrifying. The dragon had been crushed in the blink of an eye. The golden lights dashed to the skies. Ji Wuyo and the others rose up into the air and retreated. At the same time, Ji Wuyo bombarded the air with another dragon attack. The air was shaking. The dazzling lights of the golden path were a bit oppressed. Lin Feng kept jumping. The lights of the path twinkled. They now seemed indestructible. The strong cultivators in the air were startled, and immediately jumped away from the path. They were now all staring at Lin Feng coldly. Lin Feng glanced at them, and then he turned around, and continued breaking the deployment spells on the golden path, and walking forwards. The deployment spells of the golden path are getting more and more powerful. Lin Feng can use that deployment strength, so as he moves forwards, his attacks become more powerful. "We can't get close to him," thought Yuan Ho and the others. They were standing outside of the golden path, and glaring at Lin Feng. If Lin Feng could break the deployment spells all the way to the end, they would only have a short time to run to the gate. Lin Feng kept moving forwards. Many people were watching Lin Feng, especially those incredibly strong deployment spellcasters. They were all surprised. At the beginning, the women of the Moon Palace had started breaking the deployment spells. The deployment spells of the paths had then changed, but they had realized that only after stepping onto the paths. Now what they needed to do was observe what Lin Feng was doing, and then do the same. Surprisingly, he can destroy the deployment spells, thought the crowd. Lin Feng was already quite far along the golden path. If he continued, he would soon reach the end, and would be able to get into the palace. "Let's get ready." Yuan Ho and the others were staring at Lin Feng, and condensing their qi. getting ready to follow him. After a short time, Lin Feng finally arrived at the end of the path. A vast qi rolled in the air. Lin Feng smiled coldly and jumped forwards. The golden path lit up again. Terrifying energies rose to the skies as the crowd frowned. Let's go! The strong cultivators charged towards Lin Feng. But then some terrifying and deadly energies surrounded the path, and more rumbling sounds rose up. The door opened itself. Lin Feng and the others got inside. Stay open! A gigantic hand reached for the door. Some people who were in front of the door were struck by the attack. Piss off! The person who wanted to go and saw someone attack them again. They couldn't miss that opportunity, and the competition was scary. The air wobbled and shifted, and the golden lights on the path changed again. Oh no! Move back! Shouted someone furiously. The crowd retreated at full speed. However, some people didn't have time to escape. The lights reached them, and they died messily. Bastard! The crowd was furious. Lin Feng and his friends had disappeared inside the palace, but the door closed itself again. They were all stuck outside. The golden paths keep changing. We need to find the same path as they did, said a deployment spellcaster. They needed to do the same as the celestial women of the Moon Palace and Lin Feng. Lin Feng had understood what to do. That's why he and his friends were the second batch of people who had managed to get inside. Indeed, we need to do the same as them, and we'll have a chance to find the entrance, said an old man. He had been staring at Lin Feng the whole time, so he released his godly awareness. Chapter 1781. Great Emperor's powers. Only the celestial beings of the Moon Palace and Lin Feng's group had managed to enter the palace. When Lin Feng entered the palace, there was a layer of terrifying golden energy, which kept transforming and turning into an oppressive strength. Lin Feng was surprised. He raised his head and looked at the golden energies undulating in the air. What was going on? My cultivation. At that moment, the only medium-level emperor, Yin Qingyan, looked startled. Lin Feng turned his head and looked at her. Her expression had changed drastically. What's wrong? Lin Feng asked her. Yin Qingyan raised her head. Her beautiful eyes were sharp as she said, "The energy is suppressing my cultivation." Suppressing your cultivation? Lin Feng frowned and looked at Yin Qingyan strangely. Yin Qingyan released cosmic energies. She now had the strength of the top low Huangqi layer. Her cultivation level was restrained. Indeed, my cultivation level is restrained. I am a low-level emperor here, not a medium-level emperor, protested Yin Qingyan. She looked very disorientated. Her cosmic energies were really restrained, but she didn't feel oppressed. That ancient palace can restrain people's cultivation. Lin Feng's eyes were gleaming. At that moment, apart from the suppressive deployment spell, there was a golden path. It looked like the one in the outside world, but was even stranger. It was gigantic and impossible to see where it led. There are people in front of us, whispered Ho Qinglin. In the palace, in the distance, there was a bridge with people on it. Let's go and see, said Lin Feng as he sped up. After a short time, he arrived in front of the bridge, counting 18 people on it. They looked strange, like ancient emperors, all of them motionless. On each side of the bridge, there was a golden river with golden energies emerging from it. It seemed that water could freeze people. Are they dead or alive? Whispered Tantai. Those 18 people were as motionless as if they were dead. I'll see, said Lin Feng, studying those 18 people as he walked onto the bridge. When he stepped onto the bridge, a real light moved charged towards him. Lin Feng jumped back, and the bridge became normal again. What's going on? There's nothing. When Lin Feng went back to where he was, the atmosphere calmed down again. Lin Feng, what did you see? Asked Yin Qingyan. As soon as I stepped on the bridge, I was attacked. A gigantic hand which looked real attacked me, but I couldn't see it clearly. Lin Feng explained. He was startled about how dangerous that place was. Willpower attack, judged Qing Feng. They hadn't seen the attack, but Lin Feng couldn't possibly lie. There was only one possibility, a willpower attack. The 18 strong cultivators were filled with willpower strength and attacked people who stepped onto the bridge. Willpower attack. Lin Feng frowned. Even if it's willpower, why does it look blurry? And why do you sense it only if you get onto the bridge? Why couldn't you all see it? Because the 18 emperors are great emperors made of will, explained Qing Feng. Great emperors' determination can fuse together with the earth and the sky. They have an enigmatic power. Their attacks only look fake. Their will can be used to carry out strange and mysterious attacks. They can also carry out attacks which look real. Yun Qingyan nodded as she listened to Qing Feng. I've also heard that. My parents told me something similar. It's the difference between cultivation emperors and great emperors. When you become a great emperor, your mind fuses together with the earth and the sky. The earth and the sky cleanse your body. Every single strength you have fuses together with the earth and the sky. You can condense the strength of the earth and the sky in your hands and destroy mountains and rivers in the blink of an eye. And even using your mind, you can also create mountains and rivers. You can destroy or create mountains and rivers in the blink of an eye, whispered Lin Feng. Not only could such strong cultivators destroy mountains and rivers, but they could also create them. Lin Feng had seen great emperors fight. Even though their battles were incredible, they also looked quite simple. He had also seen 2 great emperors get killed in the blink of an eye. Back then, he hadn't understood what had happened. How could great emperors look that weak? It was as if they weren't much stronger than normal cultivation emperors. He didn't know the difference between the different great emperors, however. For example, there was a huge difference between normal great emperors and holy great emperors. He didn't know what powers great emperors had, either, or what kind of strength they controlled. He also didn't know what holy great emperors could do. He had never really talked to a great emperor about those things. How can they create things? Asked Lin Feng. He was curious. When you're a great emperor, every strength you have become real. The spells we learn have often been created by great emperors. So we imitate their attacks, but they're not real. For example, Ji Wuyo's Cyan Dragon attack looks like a real dragon. If a great emperor used the same attack, the dragon would be real. When a great emperor controls water strength and does a knife hand strike, a river appears. When a great emperor controls fire strength, they do a knife hand strike and can create hell itself. Yun Qingyan explained to Lin Feng. Her explanation was very clear and precise. Lin Feng was so strange, he knew nothing about great emperors. Her parents were great emperors, however. She perfectly understood what great emperors could do. She also knew a lot about holy emperors. So this the will of 18 great emperors. And they attack us for real as soon as we get on the bridge, clarified Qin Wu for everyone. Yun Qingyan nodded and said, Indeed, but that's just a test. If we pass it, we can cross the bridge. Let's try and destroy them. Tanta yelled enthusiastically. Lions appeared and roared. They immediately attacked the 18 statues with explosive power. Boom, boom, boom. The lions attacked the statues. They didn't move at all. The attack was useless. In the palace, people's cultivation levels are restrained. A person's strength can't exceed the low Huangqi layer. Even if great emperors come inside, their strength will be restrained also. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan has prepared for this. Direct attacks won't work. We need to walk across. Willpower attacks. Chu Chunxiu has studied the sky-absorbing holy scriptures. He can absorb people's willpower. He has a terrifying strength of will. He can kill people with pure will. It's as if he had the same power of great emperors, but at a much lower level, muttered Lin Feng. Maybe that it had something to do with his cultivation speed. I'll go and try first. If that's a test, maybe the 9 paths lead to different places with different tests. Many people are probably going to die during those exams, he said. He walked up to the bridge once again. This time, he was ready. He released wind cosmic energy and moved in a blur of motion. A powerful energy once again charged towards Lin Feng. The 18 statues' wills were as fast as lightning. Lin Feng put his hands together, and a purple tank as big as an ocean moved straight towards the attack of will. However, the attack consisted of millions of threads, different attacks, and like a sharp sword cut apart everything, including the purple tank. At the same time, an iceberg appeared and froze the earth and the sky, and then a terrifying ancient cauldron appeared, containing an explosive power as it hurtled at Lin Feng. The air rumbled, and Lin Feng retreated quickly, and went back to where he was standing originally. He looked furious. Everybody be very careful. Those threads of will are organized in such a way that their power has maximum intensity. Don't rush. Lin Feng called out after having inspected the energies. His eyes went pitch black. This time, Lin Feng didn't move quickly. He released several sorts of cosmic energies. In reply, a terrifying energy seemed like it was going to swallow his eyes and crush his mind. Lin Feng's eyes contained the source of the 9 netherworlds. They could corrode the 10,000 things of creation. He continued moving forwards. A gigantic hand moved towards Lin Feng and blotted out the sky. There was nowhere to escape. Dong! Lin Feng jumped, and under his feet, lights twinkled. At the same time, his purple tank moved again, containing enough strength to destroy the hand. Lin Feng continued moving forward steadily, step by step. Sword lights twinkled. There were energies all around Lin Feng. He couldn't escape. He did a knife hand strike, and his own sword energies whistled and rose to the skies, cutting apart the sword energies in front of him. The lights under his feet continued moving as a dazzling deployment spell appeared. The people behind him frowned. Surprisingly, Lin Feng was in the middle of the attack of will, and didn't continue moving. They couldn't see the determination attacks clearly. They only saw them when Lin Feng's attacks collided with them. But they knew that the Great Emperor's attacks only had the strength of the low Huang Qi layer. Of course, it was only the first bridge. Only a few people would fail here. At that moment, bright golden lights shone under Lin Feng's feet. His silhouette turned into an illusion, and he suddenly disappeared. Instantly, he reappeared on the other side of the bridge. Empty space deployment spell. Qin Wu was astonished. Lin Feng could cast empty space deployment spells and teleport. Those determination attacks can't block empty space deployment spells, but they can still have an effect on your movements. Use your own powers to walk on the bridge. If it doesn't work, just walk to the center, and then attract the strength of my marks, and you can cross. Lin Feng called out. He didn't cast a deployment spell on the other side of the bridge, as he didn't want to waste any strength, even if the strength was suppressed. Chapter 1782. Insane battle after Lin Feng, Ho Qinglin, and the others stepped on the bridge. Some people used strength, some people endured the Great Emperor's attacks, but they all used Lin Feng's empty space deployment spell. Lin Feng, without your empty space deployment spell, I couldn't have crossed the bridge, admitted Qin Wu. He was mortified. Those 18 Great Emperor's attacks were scary. Most low-level emperors couldn't stand such attacks, and thus couldn't cross the bridge. Even Qin Wu, who was very strong, found it difficult. But thanks to Lin Feng's deployment spell, Qin Wu, Huang Fulong, and the others could follow him. As long as you could all cross, that was the main thing. We'll face many dangers here. It's the same for the other paths. Besides, we came in after the Moon Palace's cultivators. The others will come in even later than us. Let's not waste time. Let's continue on and see. The Tiantai members continued on. The path seemed endless. After some time, they finally arrived in front of a sculpture which obstructed the way. It blocked the end of that room. The sculpture contained a terrifying will and attacked Lin Feng after just a glance. It looked like a demon king, and the energies looked like demonic figures attacking him. Dong! Lin Feng suddenly jumped up. His purple tank rolled in the air and collided with the demonic attacks. The air was shattering even as the terrifying will continued attacking Lin Feng and piercing through his eyes. Lin Feng started feeling dizzy. His willpower was being affected. Lin Feng's mind started shaking. He tried to use his godly awareness to protect his consciousness. The demonistic will kept bombarding his brain. Behind Lin Feng, the source of the 9 netherworlds appeared and flowed throughout his brain. The demonistic will was attacking his strength. That willpower is terrifying. There are 2 sorts, one is shapeless and the other has a shape. Lin Feng's qi rolled in waves as he continued walking forwards. He said to the others, "Brothers Wu, let's lead the way. The others, be careful, especially when your will is attacked. The attacks can destroy our willpower. We have to be very cautious." Ho Qinglin, Tian Qi, and Wu closely followed Lin Feng. The others stayed behind. Lin Feng and the 3 others released qi in volleys, attacking the demonic king's will. What a powerful will! The others thought urgently. Lin Feng released a dazzling sword energy and cut apart the demonic attacks in front of him. Ho Qing Lin used his Azura reincarnation attack to attack the will, at the same time, protecting himself with his godly awareness. The will was terrifying. The others stayed behind. They had to remain vigilant. They felt oppressed. They didn't need to face the demonic will directly since they were being shielded, but they still felt very nervous. The attacks were frightening and ceaseless. That demonic king was really strong. Cut! Lin Feng shouted furiously. Sword lights illuminated the atmosphere and bombarded the demonic king's body. Gashes appeared. Tian Qi released a terrifying golden hand at the same time. The air rumbled, and the demonic king's statue finally exploded. A door appeared beyond it. "Let's go!" shouted Lin Feng, running forwards, and the others followed. In front of them, another path appeared. It was a vast road, hundreds of meters in width. However, the path was obstructed. There was an infinite number of statues obstructing the way. "It's going to be tough," thought Lin Feng, shaking at the sight. How many emperors did the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan have back then? And how many great emperors? In order to leave such a terrifying will, they had to be incredibly strong. If Lin Feng had been alone, he wouldn't have been worried. After all, those threads of willpower were from dead people. It was just a test. The goal wasn't to prevent everyone from passing. If he were alone, he would have been able to pass the tests easily. The problem was all his Tiantai friends were there, and he had to go slowly and wait for them. "Wu, you and me, we stay in the front, you two. Defend on the left, Swan and Tantai protect on the right. Qing Feng and Qing Yan stay at the back, and the others stay in the middle. We'll take care of those great emperor's wills," said Lin Feng. Everybody nodded agreement. That was a good formation to use. Powerful energy moved towards Lin Feng. Dazzling sword lights invaded the atmosphere. 9 stars appeared and attacked him. Lin Feng released a powerful sword, meaning it looked like a lofty mountain. Lin Feng was surrounded by sword lights which dashed to the skies and clashed against the attacking sword lights. The attacks were unceasing and overwhelming. A sun sword appeared. Lin Feng used a wind attack, which contained 2 sorts of determination, meaning the sun and the wind energies fused together explosively. Thunder shook the air as a statue exploded. At the same time, Lin Feng took 2 steps forwards as Wu fought against a shadow. His physical body was incredible. Blinding sun lights appeared, and his claws were almost indestructible. Lin Feng and Wu moved forwards with an indomitable will. The band continued walking forwards. The will attacks twisted the air. The scene looked like a great war. Lin Feng created some armor and released willpower culpa strength, as well as other techniques, endlessly attacking the strong cultivator's wills. It was a difficult test. Dazzling sword lights, sun energies, clouds, water. The attacks were coming from all sides endlessly. It was a big bang of cosmic energies. Wu was fierce and ferocious, moving swiftly. He looked like a hero. However, as they moved forwards, Lin Feng realized that the willpower attacks were surprisingly turning into deployment spells. Or more precisely, they were fused together with deployment spells. Those attacks forced the group to separate. After a short time, they were separated from one another and had to fight alone. Someone groaned with pain. Lin Feng glanced around. Qin Wu had been struck by an attack and was propelled backwards and was bleeding. A cauldron had smashed into him, and now a silhouette was moving towards him at full speed. Lin Feng moved like the wind and landed in front of Qin Wu. He released Devamara Culpa strength, looking like a beast as the attack charged towards him. "Die!" Lin Feng jumped forwards. Terrifying sword energies whistled out and destroyed the attack. "Are you alright?" Lin Feng asked Qin Wu. "I'm alright. In this damn place, even the strength of precious treasures is restrained. It's better to use your own strength," said Qin Wu, taking a deep breath in annoyance. "Damn place, I wonder when we'll reach the end," said Huang Fulong. He was furious. Lin Feng moved like the wind and punched a shadow which was attacking Huang Fulong. Lin Feng said, "Enjoy the battles. You don't have opportunities to battle like this every day. Let's enjoy it. We can learn many things here." Lin Feng is right. It's a rare opportunity that we have here, said Ho Qing Lin. Those willpower attacks had the strength of low-level emperors. It was a great challenge for them. Hee. Tantai grinned. He shouted furiously, and an infinity of lions appeared, bestial chi rising up. Tantai's attacks were explosive. Tantai was different from other people. He was quickly becoming stronger. And so they continued. Apart from Lin Feng and a few others, the others were struggling and unhappy. But Lin Feng was helping them and protecting them, which made things easier for them. In the worst cases, they had a few wounds. They were extremely motivated, however. 9 cauldrons celestial attack die, shouted Lin Feng furiously at that moment. In a flash, a terrifying cauldron appeared. Apart from heavy earth and wind energies, the marks of the cauldron also contained Devamara Kulpa strength. Thunder shook the air, and a statue immediately exploded. More Devamara Kulpa strength descended from the sky. The crowd frowned and looked at Lin Feng. Kulpa. The others were staring at Lin Feng. That guy was fighting. How come there was Kulpa strength? His skills are improving. Qing Feng knew that Lin Feng's skills required Devamara Kulpa strength. This guy was improving quickly. However, the Kulpa strength didn't condense. The golden marks suppressed everything there. Lin Feng's eyes gleamed. If he wanted to truly advance, he had to leave this place. Finally, Lin Feng and the others arrived on the other side. There were no statues anymore. Arg! Huang Fu Long shouted furiously, dragon chants spreading in the air. He looked like he still wanted to battle. He was enjoying the fight, but his enemies had disappeared. Finally, once the group was done destroying all the statues, they arrived at another door. How awesome! Tantai even had blood on his face. Everybody burst into laughter when they looked at him. That battle was a long one. My muscles are sore. Lin Feng, I wonder where you find all that energy. And on top of that, you still managed to help us. Without you, we wouldn't have made it. Qin Wu smiled gratefully at Lin Feng. That battle had been fun but difficult. They all had the feeling that they couldn't keep up with Lin Feng. They were already exhausted, even though after having been cleansed by the cosmic energies of the earth and the sky. Their energies were unlimited since they could borrow them from the planet. Everybody have a rest. We don't know what there is behind that door, said Lin Feng. Everybody nodded and had sat down to recover. Maybe that the battles ahead were going to be even worse beyond that door. An hour later, Lin Feng opened his eyes. Everybody else had probably recovered already too. He ordered, "All right, let's go." As Lin Feng walked up to the door, the air gradually changed around him. A vast palace appeared, thousands of meters wide. Is someone else there? At that moment, they noticed other people. They crossed the door and finally, the intersection of the paths had appeared. Chapter 1783. Becoming stronger. The vast palace was majestic. There were many statues in the palace, and they all contained wills like before. Lin Feng frowned. Why were there so many statues? Some of the statues were broken. There was an entrance in front of them. It seemed that those sculptures were easy to destroy. They're not from the Moon Palace. They must be from the other universities? Wondered Lin Feng, glancing at the crowd around them. A few people were seated in front of the statues, as if they were studying. Maybe we wasted time, because we were inside before many other people. More things awaited us? Hazarded Swan. The others nodded. They had been fighting against the statues for a long time in the previous room. If they had relied on Lin Feng's strength, they could have progressed much faster. But because Lin Feng had wanted everyone to practice, they had wasted time. Lin Feng understood that if the Moon Palace's cultivators had been able to go in, some other deployment spellcasters would also be able to get in. After having coming into the palace, some strong deployment spellcasters had probably been able to go through all the rooms very quickly. Besides, the strongest cultivators didn't stay with their friends. Groups were rare. People moved on alone. Those statues can be studied. They don't attack, said Ho Qing Lin at that moment. Lin Feng and the others frowned. Studied? Lin Feng remembered the demonic shrine. He had also studied statues there. He had learned about immortal strength and other types of strength there. Lin Feng walked forwards and stopped in front of a statue. Suddenly willpower emerged, however. That will didn't attack, but it was still very powerful. Lin Feng shivered and looked elsewhere. He said to everybody, "Indeed, these statues can be studied. You can find a statue which contains a will suitable for you. We can improve our own willpower. Understanding willpower was very difficult. Lin Feng understood that other people weren't as intelligent as he was. Therefore, they had to choose a will suitable for themselves. Boom! At that moment, a statue suddenly exploded. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the person in front of it. That person's eyes were dazzling and golden. That person had seemingly absorbed that statue's will, and the statue had broken apart. It seems that when you study one statue and absorb its will, it disappears because it's made of willpower. So if you take it out, the statue explodes, thought Lin Feng. He then walked away as he looked for an appropriate statue. Immortal strength. At that moment Lin Feng frowned. He looked at a statue, which was different from the others. This one contained immortal meaning. Lin Feng walked closer and studied it. The immortal intent penetrated into his eyes. Immortal energy started flowing throughout his body. Lin Feng was surrounded by immortal intent, and he started absorbing it. It was as if he was turning into an immortal statue too. Lin Feng controlled abstruse immortal strength. One more step, and his immortal energy would turn into cosmic energy. Immortal energy kept moving towards Lin Feng and surrounding him. His immortal intent was becoming stronger. This will is powerful. It belonged to a high-level emperor, thought Lin Feng. With his strength, Lin Feng could already easily absorb the determination of an ordinary emperor. What he didn't understand was why the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had done all this. 9 Golden Paths tests? Apart from eliminating ordinary cultivators, or making people stronger, what was the point? Besides, why was people's cultivation restrained in here? What would they find in the end? And where were the Moon Palace cultivators? Boom! A mighty immortal meaning rose to the skies. Lin Feng sensed that his body was surrounded by immortal energies. He understood immortal energy more and more clearly. Immortal energy was condensing around his body. Kacha! The statue in front of Lin Feng broke apart. The immortal meaning now belonged to Lin Feng. His energy turned into cosmic energy. Many people looked at Lin Feng. What an incredible guy! One of his energies had turned into cosmic energy so quickly. He was so smart. Improving an energy type wasn't easy at all. Actually, Lin Feng's immortal abstruse energy had reached the top, and he already understood several sorts of cosmic energies. So making abstruse energies turn into cosmic energies wasn't difficult for him anymore. It was part of his talents. Therefore, Lin Feng had quickly understood immortal cosmic energy. After that, Lin Feng quickly searched for another statue. Very quickly, he found a demonic statue, which contained demonic will. That statue looked extremely conceited, and contained a mighty demonic will, its eyes particularly frightening. He quickly understood its will. After that he found a death statue. It looked like a dead person. Death! Someone arrived next to Lin Feng while he was studying. He frowned and dark lights glittered in his eyes while looking at Lin Feng. He took a step forwards and death cosmic energy surrounded Lin Feng. Lin Feng was studying death energy, and he was being attacked by surprise, by someone who used death energy too. He had the sensation he was going to die. His heart started racing madly. Suddenly life chi appeared. Lin Feng dodged the death energies. A gray death hand was reaching for him. Such an attack could be deadly. Lin Feng released death energy too. Then he suddenly turned around and released an immortal sword attack. The sword attack collided with the death hand. Even though he hadn't used too much energy, with immortal energy it didn't disperse. Peeling, Lin Feng said coldly. Suddenly, life cosmic energy and cursing cosmic energy fused together, and peeled off the skin of the death hand. Lin Feng's attacker was still emotionless. Another gigantic death hand appeared. You want to die? Lin Feng spat furiously. He punched out. In there, everybody's cultivation level was restrained. They had the strength of at most a low-level emperor. Lin Feng didn't fear anyone there. His physical strength was also incredible. Demonic Kulpa strength slammed into the death hand. Die! Shouted the enemy furiously. The hand contained death cosmic energy. He wanted to kill Lin Feng, but Lin Feng's attack was too powerful. At that moment, the face of Lin Feng's enemy changed drastically. Lin Feng had just understood immortal cosmic energy, and he had the strength of the Zunqi layer. How come he was so scary? That person opened his mouth and spat out death energies, which shot towards Lin Feng's head. Lin Feng charged at him, avoiding the attack as thunder shook the air. He punched the ambusher's head violently, and it exploded like a melon, killing him instantly. Tianyu! Some people shouted at the same time and ran over there, surrounding Lin Feng and staring at the corpse. They were furious. You know where he's from? Said someone, staring coldly at Lin Feng. Yinxiao University, replied Lin Feng indifferently. And you dared kill him? He had to die, said Lin Feng evenly. Ho Qing Lin and the others rushed over to support him and surrounded those people, releasing their own energies. The students of Yinxiao University were furious. There were a few things they didn't understand. Some of their people hadn't managed to make it into the palace. Besides, their cultivation level was restrained in here. Initially, they had a few medium-level emperors, but in here, they were all low-level emperors. Very good, said one of them coldly. Then they started walking away. Where are you going? Asked Lin Feng coldly. They had surrounded him with ill intent, and now they wanted to leave? The leader of the group had pitch-black eye. He asked coldly, What do you want to do about it? Lin Feng looked at him and said grimly, Don't imagine that you'll get your revenge in the outside world. Since you're here, you're all going to die. Chapter 1784. Kill them all. Yinxiao University was a university in one of the main cities. These people were extraordinary. Lin Feng could imagine what would happen in the outside world if they met. They would kill him. Die, said Lin Feng coldly. Ho Qing Lin and the others attacked at the same time. None of them were merciful. Lin Feng jumped towards the leader of the group. That guy was a strong medium-level emperor. Even though his cultivation was restrained inside the tomb, his willpower was very powerful. Cursing strength was useless against him. Lin Feng had to use powerful techniques to attack him. Immortal energy invaded the atmosphere explosively. Sword lights illuminated everything. That person groaned and jumped away. In a flash, a terrifying light curtain appeared. Ancient imprints appeared under his feet and exploded. Die! That person's eyes turned golden, and lights emerged out of them to pierce through Lin Feng's will. Lin Feng just frowned. Millions of golden lights charged towards Lin Feng. The cultivator shouted furiously and released his spirit, a golden eagle, sharp chi invading the atmosphere. It looked real, and its eyes pierced the soul. When you're a medium-level emperor, your soul strength and godly awareness become much more powerful. Many things in the palace attack people's soul and godly awareness. Thought Lin Feng. The first emperor he had killed in the great world had an incredible soul. During Ying Cheng's champion ceremony, Ji Chong had shown how powerful his soul and willpower were. He could kill people from a great distance. The golden eagle whistled and charged at Lin Feng. Lin Feng's soul started shaking. Those two eyes hurt his eyes and his godly awareness. His enemy didn't stop there though. A sharp golden sword appeared in his hand and thrust at Lin Feng. Godly Awareness Palace, shouted Lin Feng furiously. Dazzling lights emerged from his third eye, and a palace appeared above his head, millions of threads surrounding his body. He was now inside the nigh indestructible palace, looking like the 10,000 things of creation couldn't break it. His godly awareness protected him. The terrifying golden eagle continued flying towards him, and struck the Godly Awareness Palace, which shook but didn't break. Lin Feng jumped up, and a bright light shone at the same time. A punch was hurled out. Lin Feng's physical strength was already similar to a medium-level emperor's, and coupled with his Devamara Culpa strength. In this place where people's cultivation was restrained, Lin Feng was almost invincible. Imprison, shouted Lin Feng. In a flash, a prison appeared and surrounded his opponent. At the same time, Lin Feng turned into an illusion and charged him. Terrifying wind and thunder energies whistled. His opponent's face changed drastically as he shouted desperately. The golden eagle turned illusory and pierced through the cage, moving towards Lin Feng. Boom! Lin Feng did a knife hand strike with his left hand and struck the golden eagle. However, the spirit merely became indistinct. However, Lin Feng didn't care, aiming at his opponent's head as the cage disappeared. The air rumbled. Terrifying strength attacked the other cultivator's head, and at the same time, The eagle spirit crashed into the Godly Awareness Palace. Lin Feng's soul shook from the impact. Terrifying shrieks sounded out. The golden eagle went insane and kept attacking Lin Feng's Godly Awareness Palace, which shook violently. His soul is completely out of his body, and he's attacking me, thought Lin Feng furiously. When the soul was completely out of a cultivator's body, their attacks seemed less powerful. Culpa, shouted Lin Feng. Devamara Culpa's strength surrounded the golden eagle, which shrieked furiously. The golden eagle turned into the cultivator. You killed people from Yunxiao University, Champion University, don't forget that, said the soul. Then thunder cracked and the soul dispersed. That was a jade talisman? Lin Feng frowned. When the cultivator died, a jade talisman exploded. Lin Feng frowned. What did that cultivator's last words mean? Did he mean that Yunxiao University would fight against Champion University for that? Could two universities from two main cities fight against each other? Would Yunxiao University go to Champion University to declare a war? Lin Feng moved like the wind and helped his friends kill the other students of Yunxiao University. Among them, 2 people were medium-level emperors. Even though their strength was suppressed, it was still difficult to fight against them. Lin Feng and Ho Qing Lin were fighting on 2 sides, but the other ones were joining hands. The battle was intense. Finally, the last students of Yunxiao University were killed. Lin Feng collected their items. Lin Feng looked at those people's corpses and said, even though those people's strength were restrained here, they were still very strong. If we encounter even stronger people, then we might be in trouble, especially great emperors. Even if they only have the strength of a low-level emperor, they know more things which they can use against us. Even if a great emperor's cultivation is restrained in here, they can easily condense terrifying cosmic energies and pose a threat to us indeed, said Yun Qingyan. The crowd nodded. They had to be careful. After all, there were probably great emperors in there. Many people were looking frightened when they saw these Champion University students. They had killed Yunxiao University students after all. There are still many statues which we can study. Let's not miss that opportunity. Our cultivation levels are low. Those things are good for us. Lin Feng told them, glancing at the intact statues. Tantai smiled and nodded. Indeed, as people become stronger, their cosmic energies also become more powerful, and so does their willpower. Besides, those statues are worthless for great emperors, but we're weak. Those statues are precious treasures for us. They had noticed that some people had ignored the statues and had continued walking along on the main path. Those people were probably very strong. Those statues had no value to them. But Lin Feng and the others were different. Their cultivation level was low. They couldn't miss such an opportunity. Spending some time there was definitely worth it. As they thought about that, the group dispersed and quickly looked for statues which were suitable for them. Some people who had entered the palace after them arrived and noticed that some people were studying the statues. However, there weren't that many statues left. So many people decided to continue too. Ji Chang's club and Yuan Jing arrived. The group of people from Ji Chang's club was big initially, but at that moment, it wasn't that large anymore. There were only 6 people left. Yuan Jing, Yuan Ho, Ji Wuyo, and 3 medium-level emperors. It's them. Yuan Jing glanced at Lin Feng and the others coldly. Those bastards had left them outside and had entered the palace alone. The Ji Chang's club people had only managed to come in a long time after them. Surprisingly, they're still here, said Ji Wuyo coldly. Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, Tian Qi, Yun Qing Yan, Wu and many other people from Tiantai. They were all there. None were missing. Unlike the group from Ji Chang's club, they had lost many people because they had hurried along. Now they were only 6 of them. Kill them, said Ji Wuyo, releasing his energies. He probably had a way to kill them. No rush, said Yuan Ho, shaking his head. We'll kill them sooner or later. It wasn't easy to get in the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's palace. Let's continue and see what we find. In Yuan Ho's eyes, Lin Feng and many other people were there. They were only 6, and in the palace, everybody only had the strength of low-level emperors at most. He was convinced they could suppress the others, but he didn't want to gamble. If they lost more people against Tiantai's team, They would be in danger. Risking their lives to kill Lin Feng and the others wasn't worth it. Indeed, we'll take care of them when we get out, said another student. Ji Wuyo recalled his chi and continued moving along. When Lin Feng saw Ji Wuyo and the others, he released a thread of godly awareness to protect himself, as he had been attacked by surprise a moment before. When he saw them leave, he looked relieved, continued studying the statue. Lin Feng kept absorbing will. Now a dragon chant was sounding around him. Lin Feng's spirit had 9 dragon heads to swallow strength. When he had broken through to the Zun Qi layer, he had used it to absorb abstruse energies, and then stopped using it. Now he understood cosmic energies, and the statue he was facing contained absorbing cosmic energy. Chapter 1785. Yan Di, the deployment spell master. After the statues, there rose a golden palace. At that moment, many people were there. However, they were all stuck, as there was an illusion deployment spell in front of them. Many people were stuck in that illusion spell. Some of them were astonishingly strong, such as Empress Shi and the Netherworld Demonic Emperor, but they still couldn't cross the illusion spell. Boom! Someone groaned with pain. Someone was attacked, and the crowd moved away. The person crashed onto the ground, already a cold and rigid corpse. Another deployment spellcaster died, thought the watchers in astonishment. Nobody dared act carelessly. After all, they were already strong cultivators. Even if they weren't great emperors, they were high-level emperors. Their strength was restrained in here, however. Even people from the Moon Palace were stuck. At that moment, the celestial women walked out in line. "Milady, someone seems to be controlling that deployment spell. It keeps changing all the time." "I can't change it," one of the celestial women informed her, pulling a long face. Behind her, there were many deployment spellcasters. "Are you sure?" asked Empress Shi calmly. She didn't seem to be worried. "Milady, for sure, it keeps changing all the time. We keep failing, otherwise we would have broken it already," said another one. Empress Shi's beautiful eyes glittered. "The strong cultivators of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan are dead already. If there's anyone alive, it can only be a threat of will. Until now, the traps looked more like tests, so there's no reason that we can't continue." Empress Shi then looked at the deployment spell and wondered. "Yan Di, did you arrive before everyone else?" "Yan Di." The others frowned. There were many people from the vast celestial ancient city in the crowd. Older people knew about Yan Di, the crown prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Even the strong cultivators of the ancient holy clans would not forget about him. At that moment, a voice spoke out and said, "Empress Shi, back then, where did you seal your soul and godly awareness?" "In my grave in a book," Empress Shi answered calmly. The crowd frowned. That deployment spell was a person? A voice came from there, and was making fun of Empress Shi. The 3 live scriptures had been broken. "I should have thought about it. You sealed your godly awareness and soul in a book. You didn't die for cultivation. You had 2 goals. The first one was to recover, and the second one was that you wanted to study the ancient scriptures for 1,000 years. 3 live scriptures." The crowd was astonished and shook with greed. Were the rumors true? Was there anything between Empress Shi and the 3 lives great emperor? Had the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan really been destroyed because of the 3 lives great emperor? Empress Shi had been injured back then. She had sealed her consciousness and soul in the 3 live scriptures, and recovered and studied the 3 live scriptures for 1,000 years. The crowd watched Empress Shi. She didn't say anything, as if the voice was right. Silence. And then, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's ancient palace was created by the ancestors. Indeed, there were tests in here. The reason was to find a genius, transmit the secrets of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan to them, and allow the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan to revive. The second reason was to wait for me if I didn't die. Luckily, I'm alive and now I'm back in the palace. Today my enemies are here too. If anyone kills Empress Shi, I agree to transmit the legacy of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan to them, including the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, and the Celestial Deployment Spells, the hoarse voice informed them. The crowd was astonished. Kill Empress Shi? And obtain the legacy of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan? Kill Empress Shi. At that moment, the crowd looked at Empress Shi. If they killed her, they would need to kill the demonic emperor as well. But it also meant that they might offend the 3 lives great emperor. Empress Shi's cultivation is restrained. You really have an opportunity. All the people who contribute will obtain the 3 lives scriptures. The hoarse voice continued. Many people were getting excited. Empress Shi and the Netherworld demonic emperor's cultivation were suppressed. They were both low-level emperors in here. Everybody had the possibility to kill them. The Netherworld demonic emperor slowly turned around and looked at the crowd. The 9 netherworlds flowed in the air. People's hearts were pounding. They protected their wills with their godly awareness. Some people who had weak wills sensed that they were losing control. What a terrifying 9 netherworlds song will, thought the crowd with a shiver. The Netherworld demonic emperor watched the crowd coldly, and his energies slowly dispersed. He didn't say anything at all the entire time. The Netherworld demonic emperor's demonic song has already reached the acme of perfection. His cultivation is incredible. In the blink of an eye, he can sing his song and corrode someone's will. Even if his cultivation is suppressed, with his 9 netherworlds demonic song, he will take control of many people, thought the crowd. They hesitated even more, not knowing what to do. Nobody dared attack Empress Shi. Even if they really killed her, they knew that the first people who attacked her would die. Therefore, nobody dared make the first step. They preferred waiting for someone else to start. At that moment, more and more people arrived, including Lin Feng and the others. They didn't know what was going on, however. They just glanced around at the golden room and remained silent. You don't dare kill Empress Shi, it seems, prodded the voice. Lin Feng frowned. He recognized that voice. It was familiar to him. Yendi. He didn't change his voice, thought Lin Feng. That guy was already in the palace. Since you don't dare kill her, I'll give you a chance. Out of 10 people, if one of you kills 9 others, then I'll let them come into the deployment spell, and I'll transmit the legacy of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan to them, and allow them to help the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan come back to life, said the hoarse voice coldly. The crowd was stupefied. 1 person? Kill 9 others? My people, let's destroy the deployment spell. He's alone. Even if he can change the deployment spell, if you join hands, his deployment spells won't stop us, said Empress Shi. If we break the deployment spell, we'll be able to kill him. Of course, we'll also be able to obtain everything that's in the palace. Everybody, let's walk abreast. We can control deployment spells. Let's join hands with the celestial women. We can break the deployment spell. Agreed a deployment spellcaster. Killing Empress Shi was impossible. Killing 9 people was difficult too. Maybe they would die. The 2 options were very dangerous. Trying to break the deployment spell was risky too. But if they joined hands with everybody else, it wasn't that dangerous. I agree, said someone else. We've so many people. Let's just overwhelm the deployment spell. We'll definitely manage to break it, spoke up someone else. After all, in that ancient palace, cultivation levels were restrained. They didn't believe that so many strong cultivators couldn't break a deployment spell. Very quickly, everybody agreed and got ready to break the deployment spell. Lin Feng was alarmed for Yendi. If those people managed to break the deployment spell, then Yendi would be in danger. Everyone must participate, otherwise we'll kill them, said a strong cultivator, sharply glancing at the crowd. Now, everybody come next to the deployment spell. Deployment spell casters in the middle. The celestial women can help from behind, since they modify energies. Even if there are tensions between some of you, now, forget about them and join hands to break the deployment spell, ordered another strong cultivator. Many people joined the line. Lin Feng and the others also stood before the deployment spell. Who dared not to join? They had no choice. They had little choice but to obey stronger cultivators, even if their cultivation levels were restrained in there. Everybody attack, came the order. Instantly, a massive amount of chi invaded the atmosphere and rolled out in mighty waves, thundering madly as they assaulted the deployment spell ahead of them. However, the energies immediately dispersed. That's a gigantic deployment spell. It's very difficult to break it with strength. A deployment spellcaster spoke up. "Everybody walk forward at the same time," came the order. The crowd stepped forwards. However, at that moment, they realized that they were stuck in fog. "Let's continue attacking," said another strong cultivator. Hundreds and hundreds of threads of energy spread out in the air, but nothing worked. "You want to bring about your own destruction," an amused voice spoke up. The crowd then saw marks on the ground which started glowing. "Oh no, the deployment spells are changing by themselves." "Back!" shouted someone. The crowd started running backwards, but it was already too late. The deployment spell absorbed them, and suddenly they sensed that they were being teleported and separated. Chapter 1786. Attacking by surprise. The deployment spells changed. Lin Feng and the others realized that they were back in the palace again. The palace was gigantic, with golden stones everywhere. There were carvings on the walls, including supernatural birds. There was a gigantic cauldron containing a yellow qi. It looked like a precious treasure. Some whistling sounds arose, and suddenly someone threw themselves at the cauldron. A hand grabbed it, and the cauldron disappeared. Everybody frowned and looked at that person coldly. The strong cultivator, who took the cauldron, frowned and looked strange. Lin Feng and the others were near the crowd a moment before, so they had been teleported as well. Tantai wanted to walk forwards, but Lin Feng prevented him from doing so, saying, "Wait. That cauldron is a precious treasure," protested Tantai. However, Lin Feng remained silent for a few seconds and said, "It's an illusion. Everything can change anytime. Yendi wouldn't leave precious treasures in there." Actually, the others knew that it was an illusion as well. The cauldron was probably fake, but it was worth trying. "Take that cauldron out. Let me see what it is," someone demanded. The one who had just taken the cauldron pulled a long face and said, "That cauldron was fake. There's nothing in it. It disappeared when I touched it. I didn't take it." "Show me your ring and prove it then," said that person coldly. Even though he sort of believed that person, he still wanted to make sure. "Yendi wants us to separate." The one who had taken the cauldron pulled a long face. He understood what Yendi was trying to do. "Even if Yendi wanted to separate us, you were greedy. You were the first one to jump onto that precious item. You made a mistake, so now show your ring or we'll join hands to kill you," someone else threatened him. People started surrounding the man. That person's face turned deathly pale. For cultivators, a ring was something extremely personal and very important. It contained precious treasures and secret pieces of information. Nobody ever agreed to show their ring to other people. It was a humiliation and disaster. "You're going too far," said the one who had stolen the cauldron. If he showed his ring to them, they'd steal his ring and the treasures inside. Gloom invaded the atmosphere. Lin Feng looked at that person emotionlessly. He understood Yendi. He knew that the cauldron was fake. In the vast palace, apart from Lin Feng and his friends, there were many other people. One of them walked to one side and attacked the palace. That person released brilliant lights. A golden blade appeared in the air and started attacking the palace, but no sound resulted. The attack just crossed the wall as if going through nothing. The palace seemed to be an illusion. At the same time, people started fighting because of the cauldron. In the end, the cultivator threw his rings away, but he still died. The people stole his rings and killed him. However, after they killed him and stole his rings, people started battling again. This time they fought over his rings. "Yendi is amazing. There must be other illusions," whispered Lin Feng. The strong cultivator who had walked aside said, "Think of a solution to get out of here. Stop fighting. Dying here is worthless." Those people were surprised. They knew that getting out was a priority. However, nobody wanted to give up treasures, and therefore, the battle continued until 2 more people died. When you attack the illusion, it's as if you were attacking the air. "How do you break it?" said one of the cultivators, staring at the wall. The palace looked so real. "If it's a deployment spell, it can be broken. If it's not, then we must rely on strength. But our cultivation is restrained here. One person can't break it. Maybe if we join hands, we can break it," replied that strong cultivator. The others nodded and walked over to one side. "You look quite detached. Do you have a solution?" That person asked Lin Feng directly. We can only try what you just said, Lin Feng replied calmly. Lin Feng, a voice spoke in his brain. Yin Di. Lin Feng frowned. Yin Di was talking to him using telepathy. Yin Di was the master of the deployment spells. Lin Feng, I need your help, Yin Di said to Lin Feng. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled. How can I help you? Kill everyone in the illusion. Everyone. Yin Di said icily. Lin Feng was stunned. How cruel. I can't hold on for too long. They will manage to break the deployment spell. When they do, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan will be wiped off the map of the continent of the Nine Clouds forever. Little bastard, this time you must help me, Yin Di said gravely. He had never talked to Lin Feng that way. Even if I kill everyone in here, what about the other illusions? Won't people manage to break them? Asked Lin Feng. Yes. Therefore, use your people to help me. Kill everyone, said Yin Di. The people who had managed to come were all incredible cultivators. Killing all of them was cruel. Besides, if people learned about it in the outside world, the consequences would be tragic. Don't worry. You have many people with you. If they listen to you, you can kill everyone in one strike. Those people are not prepared. They won't have time to react. They would never expect you to attack them. Therefore, nobody will know about it, said Yin Di. Lin Feng, I'm alone and I won't resist much longer. My life is in your hands. You want them to die or me? You bastard, said Lin Feng. How could he attack those people by surprise and kill them all? Bastard, I've killed so many people for you. I've never asked you for anything. Now the fate of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan is in your hands. Just do as you wish, said Yin Di. Lin Feng was speechless. Indeed, Yin Di had helped him a lot. He had killed many people to protect Lin Feng. If Lin Feng didn't help Yin Di, then he would contribute to killing him. He would regret it forever. Lin Feng's eyes were suddenly filled with ice. Since those people had come to steal treasures, they were going to pay the price for it. Everybody knew that they could die when doing such things. He had to protect Yin Di. Don't be surprised, but keep calm no matter what, Lin Feng said to his friends using telepathy. They looked surprised, but only for an eye blink before recovering their calm. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's Crown Prince controls the deployment spells. He's also my friend, like a brother to me. Therefore, I'm going to attack. But I'm not going to attack the illusion. I'm going to attack those people, and you will help me. We must kill them. We must kill them in one attack. They don't expect us to attack, so they won't have time to defend themselves, said Lin Feng. When they heard Lin Feng, his friends were stunned, but tried to look calm. Remember, if you kill someone you get their treasures. You must kill them in one attack though, said Lin Feng. Everybody's cultivation level was restrained in there. If the others didn't protect themselves, they wouldn't withstand a single attack. There should be no problem. At that moment, Lin Feng and the others were already together, and they heard the leader of the other group say, Everybody gather together and attack. If anyone doesn't attack, we'll kill them. Then he released Qi. When I say attack, everybody attack at the same time. Everybody condensed strength. Lin Feng and his friends were next to the crowd. A mighty Devamara rule's strength rose up in the air with his cosmic energies. When everybody was done condensing energies, the lead cultivator shouted, Attack! Everybody else attacked the walls, and Lin Feng and his friends immediately attacked them. Only after they realized that energies were moving towards them, did they belatedly realize what was going on. Chapter 1787. Cruel the leader had said that if anyone didn't attack at the same time, they'd kill them. Therefore, everybody had attacked. They didn't dare go against him. However, they couldn't imagine that a whole group of people wouldn't obey them, and worse, they couldn't imagine that those people would attack them by surprise. They all had the same cultivation level in there, so it was even worse. Thunder shook the air as their heads exploded. Blood gushed everywhere. Many people didn't even have time to give out shriek as they died. Lin Feng released wind cosmic energies and punched someone faster than an eye blink. That person was possibly a high-level emperor, but his cultivation level was restrained in there, so his head was blown apart. Arg! Lin Feng raised his head and saw two silhouettes floating in the air. Those two strong cultivators' souls had left their bodies. One of them was an animal spirit, a mighty demonic ox. The other one was half tree, half human. Why? Asked the tree in a detached way. He was the one who had given the order to attack the wall. He looked calm, and not even upset. Even though he had died, he wanted to understand. Even souls were restrained in there. And without a physical body, he was very weak. He knew that he was going to die, but he wanted to know why. Because you should not have come here, Lin Feng answered coldly. Suddenly, he rose up in the air and released Devamara Culpa strength to surround the tree. Rule! Shouted Lin Feng grimly. In a flash, the Devamara Culpa strength rule destroyed the tree's soul, and then he destroyed the other one beside it. Lin Feng and his friends were the last ones there. They had killed everyone else. Lin Feng glanced around and said, "Those people were strong cultivators, take their treasures." Lin Feng then gazed into the distance and said, "What do I do now?" "I'll guide you," Yendi's voice replied telepathically. Lin Feng sensed a godly awareness fused together with his own, and guide him along. The illusion became transparent, he could see everything. The area was vast and occluded by fog. There were many people there, but for them the fog looked like palaces. With Yendi guiding Lin Feng, the illusion disappeared. What Lin Feng saw was real. Lin Feng also saw Yendi. At that moment, Lin Feng was standing in a golden palace. The palace looked like the one he was in a moment before, majestic and domineering. There were carved balustrades and marbled steps. There was no cauldron, however. There was a golden chair with marks on it. At that moment, Yendi was seated on it with his eyes closed. His powerful godly awareness was surrounding him with powerful, ever-changing lights. Yendi wasn't alone. There were some people with him, wearing golden robes and seated cross-legged. They looked very learned. At that moment, their eyes were closed, and they seemed to be practicing cultivation. Celestial Evolution Holy Clans people. Lin Feng was startled. No wonder Yendi had asked him for help. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had to avoid being destroyed. Were those people strong cultivators from the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan? They had reached a crucial moment in their cultivation. "Lin Feng, you saw everything. It's difficult for me to hold on," said Yendi. Lin Feng nodded. He glanced at the illusions and at the people inside it. If they managed to break the deployment spells, then Yendi and the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's people would be in great danger. "Everybody follow me, close your eyes and follow me. We'll do the same thing again. Kill everyone in the illusions," said Lin Feng to his team. Everybody closed their eyes and relaxed. At that moment, they immediately landed in another palace. Suddenly, a powerful chi surrounded them. The people in that illusion looked at them coldly and said, "How did you get in?" "He's the guy who understands deployment spells. He was the second one to get in," spoke up someone else, staring at Lin Feng coldly. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled as he said, "I understand deployment spells a little bit. We're in an illusion, the illusions don't exist. If you think it exists, then it exists. If you think it doesn't, then it disappears. A moment ago, my friends and I forgot about everything, and when we opened our eyes, we were here. I think that if we keep doing that, we'll manage to leave the illusion." People's eyes lit up. What Lin Feng said didn't seem illogical. It seemed simple enough, but appropriate too. And Lin Feng had ended up in their palace, after all. "Try again," ordered that person, staring at Lin Feng. "That's exactly what I mean. Wait for me. I'll try," said Lin Feng to Ho Qing Lin and the others. Then, he closed his eyes and took 2 steps forwards, and disappeared from the people's field of vision. "It really worked," thought the crowd excitedly. After a moment, Lin Feng reappeared. "Everybody, it works. If we forget everything, we can get out. We must continue," said Lin Feng with a smile. Then his silhouette flickered. He landed in front of the crowd and said, "Everybody, let's continue together. We'll be stronger and stronger. If we face danger when we leave, then we can join hands." Everybody remained silent and then nodded. "That's a good idea. Tell us the details. What do we do?" "You have to be in a deep meditative state of mind and forget about everything. Then the illusion disappears." "I've tried many times already," replied Lin Feng. Everybody walked up to the edge of the palace. We have to support each other. If someone succeeds, maybe that they can take someone with them. We have to be in symbiosis, said Lin Feng, nodding at everybody. Then he closed his eyes again and relaxed. There was absolutely no chi around him. All right, let's relax together and forget about everything. When I say go, we'll go together, said Lin Feng to the crowd. Everybody closed their eyes and relaxed. Lin Feng had succeeded in front of them, so he wasn't lying. When I say go, everybody attack at the same time, Lin Feng said to his people telepathically. Everybody agreed motionlessly. One group was completely relaxed, and the other one was getting ready to attack. Everybody, let's go, said Lin Feng. They slowly walked forwards, and at the same time, a terrifyingly cold chi invaded the atmosphere. Lin Feng turned into a sharp sword and crossed the room at full speed. His attack was even more terrifying than the first time. A sonic boom spread in the air as he started moving. 10 people ended up like insects and died in the blink of an eye. How could they know that it was an ambush? But 2 people dodged the attack. They had paid attention. However, it was useless. After the others died, Lin Feng and the others landed next to them. That's how you get out of the illusion? Asked one of them to Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng shook his head and said, I'm the only one who can take people out. You can't leave alone. Why? Because the illusion doesn't exist for me, said Lin Feng. At the same time, everybody attacked, and even though those 2 cultivators were strong, they couldn't do much against them. After that, Lin Feng went to another palace and continued. However, this time, there was a very, very strong cultivator among them, a great emperor. His willpower was terrifying, and his cosmic energies blocked Lin Feng and his friends' attacks. Even though they eventually managed to kill him in the end, 5 of them were injured. Lin Feng understood that even though their strength was restrained, they couldn't take too many risks. At that moment, Lin Feng looked at another illusion and said, Ji Chang and Yuan Ho won't trust us. We need to attack them directly. Chapter 1788. Studying the rebirth scriptures together, Lin Feng continued hunting. He didn't want to attack Empress Shi and the Netherworld Emperor yet. Yuan Ho and the others would also be difficult to deal with, as they didn't trust Lin Feng. If they met, they would immediately start battling. Some other people were extremely strong and were difficult to defeat. Just now, a great emperor had almost killed some of them. 5 people were injured. If they encountered such a cultivator again, they'd be in trouble. Great emperors were still very strong, even if their cultivation levels were restrained in here. Lin Feng could only attack them by surprise. He had to fool people. Lin Feng's team was surprised and cautious. If anyone learned about what they had done, the consequences would be terrifying. They had already killed so many people from the vast celestial ancient city and the universities. It was dangerous. Lin Feng was definitely fearless. Lin Feng had no choice. His friend Yin Di was in danger, and he couldn't let him die. Lin Feng, where are we going now? At that moment, Lin Feng and his team were hidden within an illusion. They all smelled like blood. Let me see. Lin Feng inspected the area. There were only 6 illusions left with people inside. The others were empty. The remaining ones were the most difficult ones, however. At that moment, the sound of Yin Di groaning in pain was audible. The illusions quickly turned to dust and disappeared. Suddenly, everybody appeared in the Golden Palace. The deployment spell was already destroyed. Those who hadn't dared to enter appeared, and quickly came over there. A bunch of people were seated, and had chi around them. Other people gradually appeared. In the back of the palace, there was a golden chair, where Yen Di suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the crowd. Yen Di wasn't wearing Taoist clothes anymore. He was wearing a golden robe, and had a golden helmet on. He looked domineering and majestic, an aristocrat, proud and arrogant. Yen Di was the crown prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Empress Shi and the others have come to my Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. How may I help you? Asked Yen Di, smiling indifferently. Then, he slowly stood up and walked forward smiling. He looked perfectly normal, as if nothing had happened. At that moment, Empress Shi didn't look at Yen Di. She looked at the cultivators who were seated there. Her eyes were filled with sharp lights. Rebirth intent. You helped these dead people come back to life. Empress, she looked at Yendi. Surprisingly, Yendi wanted to bring those people back to life. Indeed, rebirth. Let bygones be bygones, said Yendi, smiling. Nobody knew what he was thinking. When the crowd heard the two of them, they looked at the cultivators who were seated. Were they practicing rebirth scriptures? That's the real Yendi, thought Lin Feng. The strong cultivators of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan were recovering. They had reached a crucial point in their cultivation. If Empress Shi attacked them, Yendi and the others might die. Yendi is back. Everybody has come from very far away and wants to see your treasures. Everything is in your hands now, Empress Shi said to a deployment spellcaster next to her. Everybody's eyes twinkled. Indeed, Yendi had come back before them. Now they had to kidnap him. Everybody, if you want treasures, no problem. The only problem is that the strong cultivators of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan have reached a crucial point in their cultivation. Please be patient. They have the legacy of the clan with them. We initially wanted to choose people to transmit the legacy of the clan to, but since I came back first, I decided to let the elders of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan study the rebirth scriptures. As before, those who want to obtain the legacy of our clan will have their wish fulfilled, as long as they wholeheartedly vow to join the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, said Yendi. Everybody looked skeptical. If they waited for those people to come back to life, they'd be in danger. It wouldn't be easy to obtain the treasures of the clan. They had seen the terrifying wills which had protected the palace. Yendi wanted those people to come back to life. They were probably extremely strong. Since the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's crown prince is back in the ancient palace, and the others want to obtain the legacy of the clan, there's only one solution. The crown prince must die. If we wait, we won't have a chance anymore. Someone else spoke up coldly. The crowd started walking forwards. Even though Yendi looked calm on the inside, he was very nervous. If you all decide to attack the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, you will never receive the legacy of the clan. And you may not leave alive either, Yendi smiled. In front of him, a golden picture appeared and brilliant lights spread out. Everybody narrowed their pupils, and many people who were moving towards him stopped. Many people had gone into the illusions, but when the illusions had disappeared, many people had disappeared. Many people thought that Yendi had killed them with powerful deployment spells, and were wary. Those golden lights could be a terrifying deployment spell. Everybody relax, that's not a deployment spell, said a deployment spellcaster. Since it's not a deployment spell, come and have a try, said Yendi, smiling at that deployment spellcaster. Everybody looked at him, immediate putting him under pressure. That deployment spellcaster walked forwards, explosions erupted in the air. The cultivator used an agility technique. Marks appeared and moved towards the cultivators who were seated and practicing cultivation. Yendi looked quite calm, remaining motionless as thunder boomed around him. Marks bombarded one of them. Lights twinkled and marks broke apart. Deployment spell. The watchers were astonished. There were deployment spells everywhere in there. The cultivators who were practicing cultivation were protected by deployment spells. You dared disturb the elders of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan while they're practicing cultivation? You're acting recklessly. If anyone kills him, they'll receive the teachings of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, said Yendi. Then he said to Lin Feng using telepathy, Little bastard, take that guy out. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. Yendi was wasting time on purpose, so Lin Feng would have time to intervene. Lin Feng slowly walked forwards and said to the deployment spellcaster, I'm sure the Crown Prince is honest. Come here. That person looked at Lin Feng coldly. Empress Shi frowned. Other people maybe didn't know that that guy and Yendi were friends, but the 9 Netherworlds Emperor and Empress, she knew that they were close. She just looked at him though. In the crowd, there were great emperors too, but their cultivation was restrained, so they preferred being vigilant. If they didn't understand something and died carelessly, that would just be too tragic. Let's see how a little boy can kill me, said the deployment spellcaster. Under his feet, marks appeared and charged at Lin Feng. Since their cultivation was restrained, People who understood deployment spells had an advantage here. Dong. Lin Feng walked forwards too. Lights twinkled. The deployment spellcaster was startled and jumped back as more marks moved towards Lin Feng. Boom boom. Lin Feng accelerated, marks intertwined. The two fighters were not fighting with strength, but with deployment spells. They kept colliding and intertwining. Very quickly, a pattern appeared on the ground, both of them in the middle. Die! Shouted the deployment spellcaster furiously. He continued carving marks on the ground. His robe was fluttering. However, surprisingly, the lights slowed down. The deployment spellcaster frowned. His deployment spell was broken. Imprison! Shouted Lin Feng. The picture surrounded him. Destroy! Destructive energies filled the air. The deployment spellcaster wanted to escape, but the lights surrounded him, and he exploded. Chapter 1789. Sharing Scriptures. What a powerful deployment spell. That deployment spellcaster was extremely strong and he died, killed by a deployment spell, thought the astonished crowd. Ji Chang's club, Yuan Ho, and the others' hearts were pounding violently, especially Yuan Ho's. He had sent 5 cultivators who were in the ranking list to kill Lin Feng, including Feng Heisha. But Lin Feng was still alive. He couldn't investigate any closer otherwise. Everybody would know that he had plotted against Lin Feng and Ji Chang's club would be humiliated. Maybe Lin Feng had killed them with deployment spells? Lin Feng glanced at Yan Di. Yan Di smiled and said, I said it, if someone killed him, he'd receive the legacy of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Come here. You are now a member of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. What is he doing? Thought Lin Feng, walking towards Yan Di. Yan Di released his godly awareness, which moved straight into Lin Feng's brain. Nobody interrupted them. They wanted to see if Yan Di was really going to transmit something to Lin Feng. When he finished, Lin Feng's eyes twinkled. He was staring at Yan Di. What do you think of the ancient holy scriptures of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan? Asked Yan Di, smiling. He really looked like an aristocratic crown prince, magnanimous and trustworthy. Lin Feng's heart sped up. The crowd could now establish a connection between Lin Feng and Yan Di. But Lin Feng had obtained the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. That was a good thing. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan represent an extensive knowledge and profound scholarship. I need to study them. Thank you, Your Highness. Nodded Lin Feng. The crowd frowned. Lin Feng had really obtained the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures? Many people looked surprised and stared at Lin Feng. They wanted to know if he had really obtained something or not. 1, 2, 3 lives. The 10,000 things of creation. When modifying the 10,000 things of creation, you obtain the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. They are similar to deployment spells. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures help you understand the secrets of creation, recited Lin Feng. Simple words, mysterious and complex principles. The crowd looked at Lin Feng coldly. Lin Feng had really obtained the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. In the world, many people talk a lot, but the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures are really incredible and really help you understand the 10,000 things of creation. Just like you said, if you understand the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, it helps you understand deployment spells. You can modify things without limits, Yan Di proclaimed serenely. The crowd just listened to them and forgot what they had been about to do. Believe me, Empress Shi knows what I'm talking about. She has studied the 3 live scriptures before, said Yan Di, smiling at Empress Shi. Empress Shi looked back at Yan Di calmly. She knew she couldn't ask people to kill Yan Di anymore. Those people who were practicing the rebirth skill could wake up at any time. And the holy leader of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan didn't make mistakes. He had been waiting for Yan Di. Yan Di had arrived first and things had completely changed. Yan Di smiled at the crowd. As I said, if anyone wants to join the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, what I said earlier still applies. If any genius wants to join us, you're welcome. When the elders come back to life, they'll be happy to have new disciples and transmit their legacy to them. Since I already obtained the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's ancient holy scriptures, My friends and I would love to join the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, but as guests of honor, not as official members, said Lin Feng with a smile, nodding at Ho Qing Lin. Ho Qing Lin and the others quickly came up next to Lin Feng. Where is the exit of the ancient palace? Empress, she asked Yin Di calmly. The exit is where the entrance is. You can leave freely. Everybody saw that we are peaceful, we don't want to kill anyone. We just wanted to eliminate the weakest cultivators. Otherwise, with our deployment spells, nobody would have been able to make it this far, said Yin Di magnanimously. He didn't look scared at all. Lin Feng was stupefied. Yin Di was really skilled at acting. Empress Shi, the 9 Netherworld's emperor, and the others turned around and walked away. They had given up. Many other people frowned as they watched them walk away. Empress Shi took some people away. Others wanted to attack, but now they didn't know what to do anymore. Everybody can stay or leave as they wish, said Yin Di to the crowd. Those who had come into the palace later were disappointed. They hadn't had the occasion to study the statues, because they were all broken already. And now there was no treasure to take. Yin Di was there, so he was naturally going to take everything. What should we do? Yuan Jing asked Ji Wuyo, who was fixedly staring at Lin Feng. He replied using telepathy. They obtained the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. We can wait outside. Even if we can't steal the scriptures from them in the vast celestial ancient city, we'll steal them at Champion University. Even if we only get a small part of the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, it would be great. Those scriptures can change a cultivator's life. Even ordinary people can become incredibly strong thanks to them. Ji Wuyo is right. Lin Feng obtained the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, no difference for us. Let's go, Yuan Ho said to the others before they walked away. But in their eyes, you could see that they were furious. University students couldn't join the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Even though they had failed this time, they had still learned a lot in the vast celestial ancient city. Besides, they knew where to obtain the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. They left one after another. The lights in the Golden Palace gradually became dimmer. Lin Feng was curious. If Yin Di hadn't asked him to attack those people, what would have happened if they had broken the deployment spells? Would they have killed him? Now it wasn't easy to attack him anymore. The elders of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan were seated and seemed to be practicing cultivation. But nobody knew when they would wake up. Outsiders couldn't take the risk. And besides, there was another reason which prevented them from attacking. They didn't want to attack here, in the Golden Palace. Yin Di was the crown prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. He knew the place, and maybe he had other trump cards in here. Yin Di had looked indifferent and self-confident the whole time. Nobody really wanted to become a member of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. First, they didn't know what Yin Di really thought, and second, everyone there already belonged to a group. They had come to steal treasures. They weren't interested in helping the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan come back to life. Therefore, the people gradually left. Many who initially wanted to attack were terribly disappointed. After everybody else had left, Lin Feng took a deep breath. Yin Di scratched his head and said, "That was close, but I resolved the situation. Nobody dared offend me." Lin Feng and his friends rolled their eyes. He had suddenly changed. Even though he was still wearing a golden robe and a golden helmet, he didn't look as majestic as a moment ago. "If they attacked you, what would you do?" asked Lin Feng. "What could I do? I'd run away," replied Yin Di, rolling his eyes. He rolled up his sleeves, and a deployment talisman appeared before he hid it away again. Lin Feng rolled his eyes. Even though this guy was there as the crown prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, his temper hadn't changed at all. "You're all friends with Lin Feng, right? You all look outstanding. I've seen Lin Feng grow up. Back then in Yangzhou City, he was an ordinary little boy, and then someday we met, and he started becoming really strong because I took him abroad, and we traveled together. I taught him many things, and he became extremely strong. You should also become my disciples, and you will become very strong. I'll help you catch up with Lin Feng, and I'll teach you how to transform things. You'll become peerless cultivators someday with me," Yin Di proclaimed to Ho Qing Lin and the others. Lin Feng was speechless when he heard Yin Di and said, "We helped you. How do you intend to pay us back? I'll give you the status of elder in the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. What do you think? Said Yendi solemnly. Piss off, said Lin Feng angrily. That bastard. Why would they want to become an elder in the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan? They had other things to do, like making Tiantai come back to life. Forget about it. We can't leave the ancient palace for now. Let's practice cultivation for a while. Besides, I will transmit the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures to them too. You don't mind, right? Said Lin Feng to Yendi. The crowd frowned and looked at Lin Feng. He was going to transmit the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures to them? How incredible! If they become the elders of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, I don't mind, said Yendi. We are already making Tiantai come back to life. We can't become members of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. We can be honorary elders though. Tiantai and the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan can join hands and progress together. I can promise you that, replied Lin Feng. Yendi rolled his eyes and looked at all the strong cultivators of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Since that's what Lin Feng wanted, Yendi could understand how Lin Feng felt. Lin Feng was really talented. With the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, he was going to become even stronger. He would become much more powerful. Tiantai would become extremely powerful too. Chapter 1790. Leaving the ancient palace when his friends heard Lin Feng say he was going to transmit the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures to them, they were surprised. They didn't know what to think. Ho Qinglin, Tianqi, and the others were friends with Lin Feng, so they weren't surprised. They were the direct disciples of Tianqi. They were close friends, as close as brothers. Therefore, they helped each other, and it was normal. Tantai, Yun Qingyan, Qinglin and the others hadn't known Lin Feng for a long time, and yet Lin Feng was going to give them the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. It was strange and extremely generous. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures were precious ancient Holy Scriptures from the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. They were legendary in the region. Even their own siblings wouldn't have been so kind to them, but since they had joined Tiantai, they were like a big family. I joined Tiantai because I didn't like Ji Chang's club. I wouldn't have thought that you were such a kind person, Lin Feng. I admire you. You are honest. Exactly as you said back then, Tiantai is like a big family. From now on, you're like a brother to me, declared Qiuming, nodding at Lin Feng. For Lin Feng, Qiuming was almost a stranger, and yet he was going to give him the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. That was very generous. I saw you during the exam. You're a kind person. You dared confront Ji Chang's club, so you offended them, and then you joined Tiantai. We're all brothers, that's for sure. I am happy to give you the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. However, if anyone betrays Tiantai, I'll kill them, replied Lin Feng. Tiantai was very important in his life. I, e.g., am willing to die for my brothers and sisters in Tiantai. If anyone betrays Tiantai, I'll help kill them, said someone at that moment. Everybody looked at him. He was one of the last 3 people who had joined Tiantai, e.g., he was the 4th on the ranking list. Ho Qinglin had already fought against him and had won. He had joined Tiantai and hoped that someday he'd defeat Ho Qinglin. However, in such a short time, he had realized that Tiantai exceeded his expectations in terms of strength. E.g. was also very strong, and since they were good to him, he wanted to help. I, Shimin Xiao, vow to dedicate my life to Tiantai. I will die for Tiantai. If anyone dares betray Tiantai, I'll help kill them, promised Shimin Xiao. He was also in the top 10 of the ranking list. These days, all the students who were in the top 10 of the lowest list of Champion University were either in Tiantai or in Ji Chang's club. However, since Leng Xia, Puyang, and the others had died, Ji Chang's club had lost some of their high-ranking students. Everybody smiled. They were becoming friends. Lin Feng smiled and said, "All right, brothers, sisters, I'll transmit the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures to you now. And then we'll spend some time in the ancient palace. When the elders wake up, we'll leave. Yendi, help me transmit the scriptures with your godly awareness. These people helped you." Lin Feng said to Yendi. Yendi looked agreeable and nodded. As long as those kids remember what I did for them, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan will become an incredible clan again, and you'll be part of it. We'll solve the problem with the Moon Palace first, and then we'll see. Lin Feng looked at Yendi. The Moon Palace was a powerful group, with incredible resources. They had 2 Saint Emperors of the previous generation. They were intensely focused, and more geniuses were rising there. They all studied powerful ancient scriptures. Of course, Yendi was also powerful, and had many great things. And he hadn't lost the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures, and the Rebirth Scriptures. As long as he didn't encounter the 3 Lives Great Emperor, or any other incredibly powerful Great Emperor, he was safe. Lin Feng and Yendi transmitted the Celestial Evolution Holy Scripture to everybody. They all sat down and studied the Celestial Evolution Holy Scripture after receiving it. They could modify the 10,000 things of creation with them, and the scripture could make them more talented. In times past, the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan only transmitted it to the strongest cultivators of their clan. But then the Moon Palace destroyed them, and many people had started studying them. Therefore, Lin Feng had decided to transmit them to his friends, and Tiantai would benefit from it. Yendi rebuilt his ancient palace, carving deployment marks everywhere. That way, nobody would be able to come in and disturb them. Lin Feng was in the world of his spirit. Inside, he could practice cultivation in peace and forget everything else. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures held extensive knowledge and profound scholarship. In the beginning, you could create 1 thing, and then 2, and so on until all the 10,000 things of creation were open to you. There was no limit to those scriptures. All of a sudden, a cultivator could manage to create much more, and they didn't feel any resistance when their powers increased. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures were full of incredible techniques, skills, and spells. People could use them to create different things. Even an ordinary technique allowed a cultivator to create different things using different kinds of strength. In the end, they could create something that looked like a whole universe. A whole new world appeared before a cultivator's eyes when they mastered the skills and techniques of the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Lin Feng studied the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures and tried out various things. Lin Feng wasn't the only one to do that. His friends were all doing the same. They all realized that the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures weren't about studying skills and techniques per se, but more about guiding them. It was a new world which had appeared before their eyes and helped them become stronger. In the outside world, many people learned that the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had reappeared, that the Crown Prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan was there, and that some elders of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had died, but their wills were studying the Rebirth Scriptures to come back to life. They wanted to renew the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. The news spread quickly in the vast celestial ancient city, which wasn't all that far away. Therefore, even after half a year, some people were still waiting outside of the palace. People's cultivation level was restrained in this ancient palace of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, so it was risky to go in. Was it going to become the Holy Palace of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan? At the top of an ancient mountain, Ji Wuyo and the others were still seated cross-legged. At that moment, Ji Wuyo opened his eyes, which glittered coldly. Half a year and surprisingly they haven't come out. We've wasted half a year. Half a year had passed and many people from Ji Cheng's club and the U Club had left. Only a few people from the Star Group remained. They wanted to capture Lin Feng, but they hadn't thought that he would hide in there for such a long time. Ji Wuyo wasn't the only one. Many other people were waiting, including some great emperors. The door opened, said someone at that moment. The watchers all turned to stare at the ancient palace, where the door of one of the 9 paths had opened and lights were playing around. Holy marks shone and some people appeared. There were more than 20 of them. Lin Feng. Ji Wuyo's eyes gleamed, as he fixedly staring at Lin Feng. Many people around him stood up and watched the people on the ancient paths. Lin Feng was surrounded by Devamarakalpa strength. The atmosphere changed at this display. Many people were startled by the sight. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's people also came out. Many people noticed some others in golden clothes, people from the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan. Among them there were many strong cultivators. When the crowd saw them, they were disappointed. With those strong cultivators around, it wouldn't be possible to kidnap Lin Feng and the others. Wuya, what to do? Yuan Jing asked Ji Wuyo, pulling a long face. Those people are with the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan's people. Attacking them is impossible. We need to wait until we have another opportunity, Ji Wuyo replied coldly. However, at that moment, a terrifying qi rolled out in waves. A group of people had appeared at the end of the ancient path. They looked at Lin Feng and said, Yen Di, hand Lin Feng over. Lin Feng looked at them and frowned. That was Tsang Ling, the leader of the Heaven Clan. At that moment, Devamara Culpa strength swirled and turned into a tornado. The Heaven Clan also had Devamara Culpa strength. Chapter 1791, Culpa Strength. You surprisingly understand Devamara Culpa strength. Song Ling was staring at Lin Feng icily. Lin Feng had been abandoned by the gods. How could he understand Devamara Culpa strength? Cultivators had to be low-level emperors, at least to be cleansed by the Devamara Culpa strength. Had he managed to break free from the malediction? Had he become an emperor? It was impossible. His cultivation level was still at the Zunqi layer. However, his Devamara Culpa strength couldn't be fake. He was using it in front of them. What was going on? Had Lin Feng really managed to defeat the gods? The crowd was now fixedly staring at the Devamara Culpa strength under Lin Feng. This guy had spent 6 months inside, and now he had come out using Devamara Culpa strength. Boom! A powerful Culpa strength descended from the sky and bombarded Lin Feng's body. However, the crowd saw that Lin Feng looked unaffected and was simply looking at the members of the Heaven Clan. Devamara Culpa strength kept assaulting his body, but he remained motionless. The crowd was shaken. What a powerful physical body! That Devamara Culpa strength could oppress medium-level emperors. Cultivators had to use special spells to block such attacks. But Lin Feng didn't move. He just let it pummel him. Song Ling frowned furiously. Back then, he had chased Lin Feng, but he had only seen the Jade Emperor's palace. Lin Feng had taken Song Xiao away and killed him. Song Ling was still furious. The genius of your clan, Song Xiao, didn't dare let Devamara Culpa strength bombard his body, right? Said Lin Feng. Smiling at Song Ling, Song Xiao was dead, and his words hit Song Ling's weakest point. You have been abandoned by the gods. You are a Zun cultivator. Why do you understand Devamara Culpa strength? Demanded Song Ling. Who said you couldn't understand Devamara Culpa strength if you weren't an emperor? Back then at the Ice Moon Lake, I said it. Even if the gods have abandoned me and rejected me, I don't care. I don't care about the gods and their stupid rules. Even if I never break through to the Huangqi layer, I will always improve my cosmic energies, and I will always study Devamara Culpa strength. Lin Feng declared proudly. Devamara Culpa strength kept descending from the sky and attacking him. Lin Feng looked so proud and seemed indestructible. His clothes had been torn apart. Only his armor remained. His physical strength is incredible. He can easily resist low-level emperors, thought the crowd. The Devamara Culpa strength was assaulting him. And the most stupefying thing was that he really had defied the gods. He was a Zun cultivator, but as he had said, even that way, he would continue improving his cosmic energies, and he would let the Devamara Culpa strength cleanse his body. Was that the last batch of Devamara Culpa strength? Whispered the watchers. However, at that moment, a powerful wind started blowing. The Devamara Culpa strength condensed once again. The atmosphere became pitch black. The Culpa strength became even more intense. Those watching were dumbstruck. How is that possible? More Devamara Culpa strength? Thought the shaken crowd. Culpa strength continued descending from the sky. Had he really been abandoned by the gods? The gods could be jealous. Song Ling released even more powerful energies. Had Lin Feng become that strong some time before? Or had he learned about Culpa strength in the ancient palace? When it seemed to be over, it was just starting. Actually, Song Ling was right. Lin Feng had understood this level of Culpa strength in the last 6 months. How insane! thought Ho Ching Lin and the others, staring at Lin Feng. What kind of skill had he studied? Surprisingly, he could use the Devamara Culpa strength, and it had cleansed his body. No wonder his physical strength was powerful. How strong was he? You will die here, stated Song Ling, staring fixedly at Lin Feng. That Devamara Culpa strength was level 9. It condensed a second time, descending from the sky and bombarding Lin Feng's body again. Lin Feng was now surrounded by a web of Devamara Culpa strength. The crowd around him moved back cautiously. Crackling and splitting sounds spread out in the air. Lin Feng raised his head as Culpa strength kept descending from the sky. It was extremely pleasant for Lin Feng. He had the sensation that his body was going to explode with power. Pure strength was flowing through his body. Kacha! Lin Feng clenched his fists, which emitted crackling sounds. Lin Feng sensed that his physical body was reaching a maximum level. The unceasing rain of Devamara Culpa strength gave him that impression. One more step. The level 9 Devamara Culpa strength continued descending from the sky. One more step. His physical body almost had the strength of a medium-level emperor. He had been cleansed by Devamara Culpa strength 18 times. His physical body had changed again. If the skies get angry one more time, I'll have the physical strength of a medium-level emperor, and I'll be able to kill low-level emperors by punching them, thought Lin Feng. Suddenly, Song Ling condensed energies. A gigantic hand appeared and grabbed Lin Feng, who started suffocating. Even if you can make your cosmic energies improve and continue being cleansed by Culpa strength, it won't change anything. You will die today, Song Ling said icily. If anything happens to him, you won't leave alive, someone else interjected. A powerful and oppressive energy swept forth. People raised their heads and saw 3 strong cultivators from the animal clan. Lin Feng looked at the people in the sky and then at Song Ling, smiling coldly. The Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had come back to life in the vast celestial ancient city. Lin Feng didn't intend to make the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan fight against other influential groups. After all, they had fallen a long time before. They weren't as strong as they were in the past, and Song Ling was a powerful cultivator. The strong cultivators of the animal clan were here, and that was a very good thing. Masters, Lin Feng killed so many people from the Heaven clan. Do you think you can oppose the Heaven clan? Song Ling said to those 3 strong cultivators. He was very unhappy and annoyed. Those 3 people were very strong. He wanted to kill Lin Feng, but it was impossible now. Is Lin Feng so important for the animal clan? Song Ling didn't understand. If the animal clan hadn't come, he would have already killed Lin Feng. You came with so many people to threaten my son-in-law. Do you think we'd let you? Asked Swan and I, the legendary beast, releasing bestial chi. He killed so many people from the Heaven clan. Do you think we could let him live? Retorted Song Ling aggressively. Song Ling, I'd like to ask you, if Lin Feng had been weak, wouldn't they have killed Lin Feng? Said Qing Feng's father proudly. Song Ling frowned. If Song Xiao had been stronger than Lin Feng back then, of course he would have killed Lin Feng. When the old man of the animal clan saw Song Ling's facial expression, he grinned coldly and said, I don't know what happened exactly back then. Song Xiao wanted to kill Lin Feng. They fought and he died. But Song Xiao was weak and died, so what? That's logic. Now you old men came here to attack Lin Feng? If you touch him, you will die. When Song Ling heard the old man threaten him, he pulled a long face. The old man continued, Piss off now. Are you waiting for me to attack or what? All right, said Song Ling icily. We're done for today. I have some disciples in Champion University in the Holy City. They're practicing cultivation really hard. Song Ling rolled up his sleeves. His friends groaned in disappointment, and they all left. Even though the animal clan was strong, they wouldn't have killed Song Ling and the others without any reason. After all, they couldn't attack a holy clan impulsively. The other strong cultivators who wanted to attack Lin Feng left too. In the vast celestial ancient city, nobody wanted to offend the animal clan. Lin Feng, Qing Feng, come here, called out the old man, smiling at Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng, Qing Feng, Wu, and Swan headed for the strong cultivators of the animal clan. Not bad, you've become quite strong. Let's go back to the animal clan, said the old man with a smile. Lin Feng nodded back at Ho Qing Lin and the others. They all rose up into the air and disappeared from the people's field of vision. Bastard! Ji Wuya watched Lin Feng and the others leave. He had wasted half a year waiting for Lin Feng. And Lin Feng was becoming stronger. Devamarakalpa's strength had cleansed his body. Lin Feng hadn't wasted any time at all, unlike them. Ji Wuya had practiced cultivation too, of course, but he could have improved elsewhere. The stay in vast celestial ancient city hadn't been worth it. He had obtained nothing he wanted. He'll come back to the university at some point, Yuan Ho said coldly. Ji Wuya nodded, and they all left, heading back to the holy city. The other people waiting left too, because Yen Di went back into the ancient palace. They had nothing left to do there. Lin Feng and the others were the only ones who had obtained anything interesting. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. That was the end of a phase, but people wouldn't forget about this. After all, the Crown Prince of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, Yen Di, had reappeared, and the elders of the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had come back to life thanks to the rebirth scriptures. 3 days later, something else happened in the vast celestial ancient city. The skies were infuriated, in the same place as before, in the wilds in the mountains. It looked apocalyptic from far away, but nobody knew what was going on. Some people said that it was restriction strength. Some other people also said that a strong cultivator was practicing a heaven-defying skill hidden in the vast celestial ancient city, but nobody knew the truth. Chapter 1792. Humiliating Jichang's club. Many people from the holy city had returned to the vast celestial ancient city, but they hadn't obtained anything. They had gone back to the holy city only with the news that the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan had come back to life. The Crown Prince Yen Di was there, and he was returning the elders of the clan back to life thanks to the rebirth scriptures. They also heard that Lin Feng from Champion University was the only one who had obtained something. He was very lucky. He had even spent some time with the Crown Prince in the ancient palace, and had obtained the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Nobody knew who had said that initially, but now, everybody knew that everywhere. Even though many students from other universities were interested in the scriptures, they didn't take it to heart too much. The pavilion closest to the water enjoyed moonlight first. In other words, special advantages fell to people in a favorable position. Champion University's students would be the first ones to see Lin Feng, so they would attack him first. Of course, Lin Feng first had to come back to the holy city. Maybe Lin Feng was hiding. Otherwise, too many students would be after him. After all, the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures weren't ordinary ancient holy scriptures. At Champion University, there were many geniuses who knew ancient holy scriptures. They usually inherited them from their clans, and were suitable for their cultivation. The Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures were different though. They could make ordinary cultivators stronger and more intelligent. If strong cultivators studied them, then they would become even more powerful. Of course, in the holy city, Lin Feng wasn't the only one who had the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Another person had them. Many people knew that. But Lin Feng wasn't known to be extremely strong, so getting them from him was easiest. So, in Champion University, many people were waiting for Lin Feng to come back, including the members of Ji Chang's club. But time passed and many people were disappointed. Was Lin Feng going to come back someday? Today Champion University had a lively atmosphere. At the entrance of Champion University, a group of people arrived. They glanced at the crowd aloofly. They all had an imposing appearance. Even though their cultivation levels weren't high, they looked like heroes. Lin Feng. At that moment, many people looked at the young man in white clothes icily. It was Lin Feng. He had dared to come back. Many people were waiting for him at Champion University. Yunqing Yan Lin Feng. Those are Tiantai's people. Many people noticed them, and left to spread the news. In the star group, Yuan Ho heard that Lin Feng had come back, and he immediately called a meeting of people from the star group. They had to discuss how to deal with Lin Feng. In Champion University, there were rules. The last time, they had tried to kill Lin Feng outside. They couldn't kill fellow students within the university. They had to challenge people, and all the parties had to agree to battle. A medium-level emperor couldn't possibly challenge Lin Feng to a battle to the death though. Otherwise the reputation of Ji Chang's club would be tarnished. Lin Feng was at Tiantai's headquarters. The atmosphere was very lively. Many people came over and gathered in the courtyard. Tiantai's people had finally come back from their journey. Bzz. Someone risen up outside. The crowd was surprised. Was someone spying on them? What do you want? A member of Tiantai asked the strong cultivator. Tiantai's territory had become quite large, as only the core members of Tiantai had been to the vast celestial ancient city. Some people had also been traveling with Ho Qing Lin to gather experience, and he had chosen 3 more people to become core members. I came to greet the people who have come back from the ancient city, replied the strong cultivator indifferently. I'm sorry. They are busy practicing cultivation. Come back another day, sorry for the inconvenience. The member of Tiantai replied with equal indifference. The people outside were surprised. Was Lin Feng hiding? That had to be an excuse. Lin Feng as well? Asked the strong cultivator. All of them, replied the member of Tiantai. That person groaned icily and left. He couldn't force the issue. The members of Ji Chang's club are here, said some people in the crowd. They had seen some people from Ji Chang's club in the distance. Those people arrived at full speed and looked angry. Ji Wuyo shouted icily. Lin Feng, get the hell out here. Lin Feng, get the hell out here. His voice echoed far away in the distance, and resonated for a long time. People sighed. Ji Chang's club was too aggressive and arrogant. Ji Chang's club protected him. His brother was Ji Chang, so he dared do anything. Also, he was from a rich family in the holy city. That was the main reason why he dared act like this. They are not available. They are practicing cultivation, said the member of Tiantai extremely loudly. However, Ji Wuyo just snarled icily and waved his hand. A cyan dragon appeared and roared, before it attacked Tiantai's buildings and blew them apart. Meditating in seclusion? Ridiculous, get the hell out here, shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. 10 seconds, if you don't get the hell out of here, I'll destroy all the buildings, I'm warning you. Bzz. At that moment, many people rose up in the air. They were all external members of Tiantai. Even though they weren't core members, they were extraordinary too. They looked at the members of Ji Chang's club sharply. One of them looked at Ji Chang's club icily and said, Lin Feng and Ho Qing Lin are meditating in seclusion. They told us that if you, the members of Ji Chang's club, came and caused trouble, you could meet them in 10 days on the champion battle stage. Our core members challenge all the low-level emperors of Ji Chang's club to a battle, everyone. You can choose. On that day it will be a battle to death, or you can go home. The voice of the Tiantai's disciple was extremely loud, and it echoed far away into the distance. Everybody frowned. The members of Ji Chang's club also looked angry. 10 days from now, a battle to death, Tiantai against Ji Chang's club. Yuan Ho looked petrified. In Ji Chang's club's star group, among the low-level emperors, apart from Ji Waiyu and a few people, the others weren't that strong. On Tiantai's side, the low-level emperors were really strong. Lin Feng, Ho Qing Lin, Tianqi and many others. Even those who had joined later on were really strong. Among them were Shi Men and Yi Ji, both at the top of the ranking list. In a battle, Ji Chang's club would be in great danger. What's wrong? Ji Chang's club is so strong, are you afraid to fight her? Asked Tiantai's spokesman icily. You don't dare battle but you come here and bark? You only dare come with people who have a high cultivation level to threaten new students? If Ji Chang's club doesn't dare fight, forget about it. And staying here is useless, said another one mockingly. Those people were arrogant and aggressive, especially Ji Waiyu. He had immediately destroyed some buildings. Now, Tiantai wanted to fight against them, and on top of that, a battle to death. So Tiantai's people were excited. They hoped Ji Chang's club would accept the battle. But would they dare? Nobody had thought that Tiantai would challenge them to such a battle. If Ji Chang's club refused, they would lose face. They were always so arrogant and aggressive. We'll fight, shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. They had no choice anymore, and anyway, With his strength, he didn't fear them. Yuan Ho frowned and said icily, Ji Chang's club decides the rules. When the member of Tiantai heard Yuan Ho, he smiled indifferently and said, Lin Feng knew that you would say that. Before he started meditating in seclusion, he told us to ignore the members of Ji Chang's club. He said you are all extremely arrogant, but that you were actually weaklings. He said that if you accepted our challenge, you'd want to determine the rules. Even though Tiantai is a new group, we have no problem letting you determine the rules. What do you want to do? Haha, indeed Lin Feng said that. Yuan Ho, you really said exactly what Lin Feng had predicted. Ridiculous. You keep saying Ji Chang's club is the strongest club of the university. But Tiantai is a new group, and you dare say you want to determine the rules. No problem, we don't mind. The members of Tiantai all laughed loudly. Yuan Ho looked furious. They were arrogant and proud, but kept being humiliated. Many people would have laughed if they had known that. Ji Wuya was furious, and his chi rolled out in waves all around him. A member of Tiantai glanced at Ji Wuyo and said, Brother Lin Feng said something else. Ji Wuyo, in 10 days, the first student of the ranking list will be different. I'm waiting, snarled Ji Wuyo in impotent fury. She whistled and dragon chants spread in the air. The atmosphere shook. In 10 days, Lin Feng would pay for this humiliation to him. Chapter 1793. Gathering around the battle stage 10 days later, the battle between Tiantai and Ji Chang's club would take place. The news that it was supposed to be a battle to death spread quickly within Champion University. The battle attracted lots of people, including medium-level emperors. Many things were going on in Champion University. Ji Chang's club was declining. In Ji Chang's club, only Yuan Jing and Ji Wuyo could oppress other people. But back then even Yuan Jing had lost against Ho Qing Lin. Therefore, they were probably going to try and choose rules, which would help them win. When Ji Chang's clubs had gone to Tiantai, Tiantai's members had looked at them mockingly. They had allowed Ji Chang's club determine the rules. Tiantai was very self-confident. Yuan Ho kept being humiliated, and he didn't let them determine the rules, which meant that he knew he was at a disadvantage and could lose. Therefore, during those 10 days, Yuan Ho and the other cultivators of the Star Group started being proactive within Champion University. At that moment, Yuan Ho was in Jing Shou's courtyard. They were sitting and facing each other. I'm not interested in Ji Chang's club, said Jing Shou. After understanding why Yuan Ho had come to him, he narrowed his eyes and shook his head. His hands were still in his sleeves, as if he took them out only to kill people. I know that you're not interested, but I hope that you can temporarily join Ji Chang's club, and after the battle, you can leave the group. We won't bother you about it, said Yuan Ho calmly. Jing Shou was the second student, just above Lin Feng. If he agreed to help, then Tiantai would fall in the rankings, and the Star Group would rise up again. But Jing Shou wasn't interested. He shook his head and said, Your Excellency, please find other people. Jing Shou, it's only a battle for you. Besides, Ji Chang's club promised you that we wouldn't bother you. You better think about it. Yuan Ho insisted to Jing Shou. Jing Shou smiled indifferently. The Star Group seemingly didn't learn anything from the lessons Tiantai taught them. Yuan Ho was threatening him. You better think about it. Help Ji Chang's club? Yuan Ho frowned, bit his lips. He was going to continue, but Jing Shou said, Your Excellency, please leave. Yuan Ho didn't need to stay. He looked angry, stood up, and rolled up his sleeves. Jing Shou wasn't the only strong cultivator in Champion University. After leaving Jing Shou's residence, Yuan Ho and the other members of the Star Group continued looking for other people. Many people couldn't wait to watch the battle, because Tiantai kept humiliating the Star Group. If they lost, the Star Group would definitely lose their reputation, especially Yuan Ho, as the leader of the group. Yuan Jing was rushed now. Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing were worried too. They were both in the celestial mountain of ancestor Zhu Tian, studying hard. Ji Wuyo could now take 5 more steps. At that moment, ancestor Zhu Tian slowly came out. When Yuan Jing saw ancestor Zhu Tian come out, she bowed and greeted him humbly. Ancestor. Yes, I've heard that Lin Feng challenged Ji Wuyo, said ancestor Zhu Tian to Yuan Jing. He remembered Lin Feng. That little boy, half a year before, during the ceremony, had shown that he had a strange body. Ancestor, Tiantai's people challenged us. Lin Feng is the strongest cultivator of Tiantai. He should fight against Wuyo, said Yuan Jing. Indeed, Ji Wuyo is really strong. He's one of the strongest low-level emperors of the university. He's arrogant and that's perfectly normal. I can't wait for you to win, said ancestor Zhu Tian before leaving. For him, such a battle was a small thing, and he wasn't really interested. If Ji Chang fought against another monstrously strong cultivator, then he would have been interested. Yuan Jing saw ancestor Zhu Tian off, and then looked at Ji Wuyo. Ancestor Zhu Tian was right. Ji Wuyo was arrogant, but really strong. Lin Feng was also really strong, so he had to practice even more. He had to defeat Lin Feng. 10 days was nothing for Champion University students. Tiantai was rising, many people couldn't wait to see them fight. They had humiliated Ji Chang's club many times. Before, Ji Chang's club used to humiliate other people, not the opposite. Since Lin Feng and his two friends had joined the university, they kept humiliating them, the club, and then they had created a new club of their own. Their group was quite strong now. Lin Feng had told Ji Wuyo the first student would change soon. He was extremely arrogant. He dared compare himself with Ji Wuyo. The crowd was wondering whether Ji Wuyo kept thinking about the battle or not. The 10 days passed. Near the battle stage, there was an ocean of people. It was rare to see so many people there. After all, those people were all geniuses. They had things to do. They needed to practice cultivation. They traveled a lot. Ordinary battles were not interesting. However, this fight attracted many people. The members of Ji Chang's club are here. People were talking in the crowd, and noticed that in the distance, a group of people arrived. The leader of the group was the leader of the star group, Yuan Ho. Ji Wuyo isn't here? Wondered the crowd. They were surprised. After all, Ji Wuyo was supposed to be a protagonist in this fight. That's Ren Xian. When did he join Ji Chang's club? Thought the crowd. Near Yuan Ho, there was a cultivator called Ren Xian. He used to be the 5th student in the ranking list, but because of Lin Feng and his friends, the ranking list had completely changed. Ren Xian was already behind in the list. He hadn't shown up the whole time, and now he was there with Ji Chang's club. Not just Ren Xian, there are many other students who are in the top 20 with Yuan Ho, thought the crowd, frowning at the sight. They started understanding what was going on. Because of the battle, Yuan Ho had disappeared for a while. He had been recruiting people. The people he had recruited had fallen in the rankings. Would they rise back up this time? Everybody understood that after this battle, the top 20 of the ranking list would change completely. Ji Chang's club's group is powerful, but Tiantai is not weak either. Lin Feng, Ho Qinglin and Tian Qi are extremely strong, and some strong cultivators have joined Tiantai too. There is also Wu, Qinglin and Swan. They're extremely strong cultivators from the animal clan in vast celestial ancient city. Wu is a 3-legged golden crow, a supernatural bird. Ji Chang's club won't win easily, was the consensus of the crowd. The two groups were really strong. Tiantai was rising, and among the low-level emperors, they had incredible cultivators. They're here. Tiantai's people are here, called out someone in the crowd. In the distance, there was a group of heroic-looking people. The crowd was very excited. Great changes were going to happen in Champion University. Tiantai's people directly landed on bleachers next to the battle stage. Ji Chang's club's people were facing them across the stage. They looked at them icily. The crowd could sense the pressure. You dared come. Where is Ji Wuyo? Asked Lin Feng indifferently. The crowd frowned. Lin Feng sounded self-confident and arrogant. He didn't fear Ji Wuyo. You really want to die? A voice rose, dragon chants spread in the air and she rose with them. Ji Wuyo and Yuan Jing arrived together and landed on the edge of the battle stage. Lin Feng smiled thinly when he sensed that Qi and said, You look like a little buffoon. You think you look strong when you bark? When people are scared, they need to cheer themselves up, grinned Tiantai. Tiantai's cultivators burst into laughter. But they all knew that Lin Feng and Ji Wuyo's battle was going to be dangerous. After all, Nobody had fought against Ji Wuyo after he became the first student of the ranking list. Their fight would be important. Chapter 1794. Ji Chang's club's rules. Lin Feng glanced at Ji Wuyo, and then at Yuan Ho, saying indifferently, Yuan Ho, what are the rules? Ji Chang's club can determine the rules. Everyone is here now, so go ahead. Yuan Ho's eyes twinkled as he said, all right, the rules are very simple. One-on-ones. Ji Chang's club chooses one person. Tiantai chooses one person. If someone doesn't lose, they can battle several times. After winning, they can rest or continue battling. The battles end when Tiantai or Ji Chang's club's cultivators have all lost. Many people frowned as expected. Yuan Ho had chosen rules which were good for Ji Chang's club. Those rules were for Ji Wuyo. If he won, he could continue fighting. The rules aren't so good for Tiantai. If nobody can defeat Ji Wuyo, then Ji Wuyo will win on his own. He can defeat them all, thought many people. Lin Feng smiled. Yuan Ho was a good schemer. Besides, Ji Chang's club also had more people. So do the cultivators jump onto the stage at the same time? Or will you choose your fighters after having seen our fighter? Asked one of Tiantai's cultivators mockingly. Everybody looked at Yuan Ho for his answer. It's a battle. It has to be fair. We can agree on terms. We choose first. And then during the second round, Tiantai will choose first. Yuan Ho answered calmly. Battles to the death. Lin Feng prompted coldly. That was the most important thing for Lin Feng. Yuan Ho had determined the rules. If they agreed on battles to death, then it would be very dangerous for Tiantai, unless Lin Feng kept fighting the whole time. Otherwise, if anyone else fought against Ji Wuyo, then they'd probably die. The fighters can discuss this together. If they agree, then why not? If someone doesn't want to, then no. Also, if someone leaves the battle stage, then it's a defeat, replied Yuan Ho calmly. Lin Feng didn't want Tiantai's members to die. Of course, Yuan Ho couldn't let his people die stupidly either. The fighters could discuss the terms. Lin Feng would probably agree with that. Lin Feng glanced at the members of Ji Chang's club. Of course, Lin Feng couldn't force Ji Chang's club to accept battles to death. At least the core disciples of Tiantai would have great battles. I agree. Lin Feng nodded. Since you agree, you can start. Choose someone, said Yuan Ho. How shameless, said Huang Fulong. The rules weren't good for him. The crowd could see that Ji Chang's club had the advantage with such rules. I'm weak. I'll fight first, said Huang Fulong, jumping onto the stage. Yuan Ho looked at Huang Fulong and smiled coldly. How many members of Tiantai would lose their battles? Busy. Yuan Jing landed onto the stage and looked at Huang Fulong. She said coldly, You dared come onto stage? You're humiliating yourself. Battle to death. What do you think? Don't, said Lin Feng to Huang Fulong using telepathy. He was so worried for Huang Fulong. Yuan Jing was very strong. Huang Fulong couldn't possibly win against her. So much bullshit, let's fight, said Huang Fulong. His chi rose, dragon chants spread in the air. Dazzling lights invaded the atmosphere. He punched out in her direction. A dragon appeared and charged at her. Yuan Jing released a four-season sword. It contained the strength of the four seasons. Even though she hadn't mastered her attack that well, it was still powerful. And it should be enough to defeat Huang Fulong. Sword coupled with cosmic energies, cosmic meaning. Lin Feng was surprised. Yuan Jing hadn't wasted time since the ceremony. She had become even stronger. Spring, summer, fall and winter energies were intertwining. The four seasons meaning surrounded the brutal dragon. The spring energies caused rain. The summer energies were scorching hot. The fall energies raised a whistling strong wind. And the winter energies froze the atmosphere. There was a big difference between Huang Fulong and Yuan Jing's strength. Yuan Jing was truly powerful. As expected, the four seasons sword surrounded the brutal dragon. Huang Fulong shouted furiously, looking like a brutal dragon. Yuan Jing's silhouette turned into an illusion, and she reappeared above Huang Fulong's head. Her sword descended from the sky at full speed. The 10,000 things of creation looked pale next to that attack. Get down off the battle stage, shouted Lin Feng telepathically. Even though Huang Fulong hadn't accepted a battle to death, Huang Fulong would get badly injured if the attack reached him. "Boundless azure dragon destroying heaven and earth," shouted Huang Fulong. He jumped, and as he did, a dragon appeared under his feet and rose up in the air. Roaring furiously, the dragon dashed to the skies and destroyed the sword energies. "How strong?" thought the amazed Lin Feng. He underestimated Huang Fulong. It was as if millions of azure dragons had appeared. "Good, Huang Fulong's boundless azure dragon is impressive. The azure dragons look like real ones." Tantai was pleasantly surprised. Sword energies plunged down from the sky. Huang Fulong kept moving backwards, fighting and retreating at the same time. Finally, he jumped off the battle stage, his clothes completely torn apart. Lin Feng was already quite satisfied though. That was Huang Fulong. He doesn't stand out, but he could resist Yuan Jing not bad. Tiantai has some strong cultivators, thought the crowd. Even though Huang Fulong had lost, he had proven he was strong. Yuan Jing was, after all, in the top 10. "Second battle, it's Ji Cheng's club's turn to send a fighter," shouted Tantai to Yuan Ho. Yuan Ho looked at someone, and that person landed on the battle stage. "It's a new member of Ji Cheng's club," thought the crowd frowning. They understood what Yuan Ho had done. He had recruited some people to help. He wanted to defeat Tiantai no matter what. Everybody understood what they were doing though. "I'm going," said Tantai, jumping onto the stage and shouting furiously. In a flash, cracking and shattering were heard as he grew to gigantic size, looking like a powerful god. Dong! Tantai jumped. The battle stage shook violently. He looked like a powerful lion, majestic and mighty. He threw himself at his enemy. That person frowned and fixedly stared at the gigantic silhouette. With that powerful pressure, Tantai looked indestructible. Tantai roared furiously. A gigantic lion appeared at his back, terrible and ferocious. The lion immediately threw itself at his enemy's head. Powerful energies rose to the skies. Tantai appeared in front of his opponent and rained down blows. It was as if millions of roaring lions were attacking. That cultivator groaned and condensed a powerful strength. 100 fists appeared in the air, but the lions destroyed them all. Tantai came barreling down from the sky. Thunder boomed as that cultivator threw himself at Tantai like an arrow. Blood splashed everywhere, and he was hurled off the stage. A member of Ji Cheng's club caught him. "Phew!" Tantai swallowed and glanced at the crowd icily. Then he said to Yuan Ho, "Are all the cultivators of Ji Cheng's club pieces of trash? Even if you don't dare send your own fighters, at least don't send cannon fodder. How pathetic. The strongest group of Champion University? Ridiculous." Then he turned around and jumped off the battle stage. If they sent another cannon fodder, he'd fight again. Ji Cheng's club. The crowd laughed. Yuan Ho was ridiculous. He didn't care about Ji Cheng's club's reputation anymore. Surprisingly, he dared do such things to fight against Tiantai. "I think you should act arrogantly only after winning," Yuan Ho said icily. He knew that what he was doing was bad for the reputation of Ji Cheng's club. He had no choice, he really wanted to win. And he was sure that Ji Cheng's club was going to win. "Next one!" shouted Yuan Ho loudly. He was furious, flames of fury were burning in his eyes. He had to destroy Tiantai. The star group's reputation depended on the result of these battles. Ji Cheng's club was under great pressure. However, he was convinced he could defeat all the members of Tiantai. Chapter 1795. Evil Lin Feng, "I'll fight this time," said Qin Wu icily, and he jumped onto the battle stage. Lin Feng looked at Qin Wu. He had spent half a year in the Celestial Evolution Holy Clan, and had studied the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. He didn't know how strong Qin Wu had become. Could he win? If Yuan Jing fought, she could definitely defeat Qin Wu. After all, initially, Qin Wu was the 28th student. After joining Tiantai, Ho Qing Lin had taken some people abroad to gather experiences, and then they had studied the Celestial Evolution Holy Scriptures. Maybe he was now in the top 20. Yuan Ho looked at Qin Wu icily. Back then, Ji Cheng's club was in charge of the new students. He really hoped that people like Qin Wu, Xiao Ming, and the others would join Ji Cheng's club. But then, Xiaoming and Bai Qi had refused to listen to him. After the exams, Qin Wu had decided to spend time with Lin Feng, and then had decided to join Tiantai, not Ji Chang's club. Wuyo, said Yuan Ho icily. When the crowd heard him, they were stupefied. Ji Wuyo. Yuan Ho was surprisingly calling Ji Wuyo. Ji Wuyo jumped up. Dragon chants rose and energies rolled in waves. The whole battle stage was surrounded by energy. The crowd's ears hurt. Qin Wu could sense the oppressive energies. He could barely breathe, and his heart was pounding. Ji Wuyo was extremely strong. He was the first-ranked student. Boom! A cyan light dashed to the skies. A cyan dragon totem appeared. The crowd shivered. Ji Wuyo was impressive. He had to do all he could to win. Ji Wuyo was fixedly staring at Qin Wu. Qin Wu could sense his willpower shake. Ji Wuyo waved his hands and strength rolled. A dragon brandished its claws and charged at Qin Wu. At the same time, Ji Wuyo also threw himself at Qin Wu. Ji Wuyo knew that Qin Wu wouldn't accept to battle to the death, so instead of talking nonsense, he had attacked immediately. Even though he couldn't kill him, he could still injure him. Qin Wu raised his fists and light beams appeared. The air shook as two gigantic ancient cauldrons appeared. There were marks on them containing a powerful strength. Die! The claws crashed onto Qin Wu. He was bleeding severely, but he continued attacking without flinching. The crowd was amazed. He was very brave. Surprisingly, he dared confront Ji Wuyo directly. Ji Wuyo shouted out. Cyan dragons roared furiously and surrounded the cauldrons to attack them. The cauldrons shook violently, and then crashed back onto Qin Wu's body. He was slammed backwards violently, and crashed onto the ground away from the battle stage. Bzzz. A strong wind blew. Lin Feng jumped and grabbed Qin Wu. He coughed up blood, which splashed onto Lin Feng's robe. Lin Feng was furious. He released some life qi which flowed through Qin Wu's body. Lin Feng whispered, "Are you all right?" "I'm all right," sighed Qin Wu. He looked disappointed. He hadn't thought that the difference between him and Ji Wuyo was so large. He said to Lin Feng, using telepathy, "Lin Feng, you'll fight against him sooner or later. He's extremely strong, be careful." Qin Wu knew that the most crucial battle for Ji Chang's club in Tiantai was the battle between Lin Feng and Ji Wuyo. Lin Feng nodded, and then he looked at the battle stage. He looked at Ji Wuyo. Ji Wuyo was also looking at him. Dragon chants spread in the air. By looking at each other, it was as if they had been fighting already. Next battle. Lin Feng looked away, and then looked at Yuan Ho. Ji Wuyo went back to his group. Yuan Ho looked at someone behind him, and that person landed on the battle stage. "I'll go and crush him," said Tantai, clenching his fists furiously. "Tantai!" shouted Lin Feng in a low voice. Tantai hesitated and looked at Lin Feng. "I'll go this time," said Lin Feng. He moved like the wind and landed on the battle stage in an eye blink, staring at the other cultivator calmly. "Give up now, get off the stage. You still have time," said Lin Feng calmly. He looked indifferent. However, one could sense his disdain. Even though he was cannon fodder for Ji Chang's club, he wasn't weak. He was in the ranking list. How could he accept being humiliated by Lin Feng like that? Yellow energies rose. That person walked slowly towards Lin Feng. Each of his steps released some oppressive energies. Earth cosmic energy condensed into a mountain and surged towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng also walked towards him. Each time he made a step, marks appeared on the stage. The earth energy and the marks collided on the stage and intertwined. Lin Feng's marks turned into patterns. Lin Feng's opponent was not reassured. Lin Feng was extremely strong, but he had already agreed to fight, so he couldn't flinch. That wasn't what strong cultivators did. "Celestial Mountain Imprint!" shouted that cultivator furiously. He didn't do anything superfluous. A gigantic imprint dropped from the sky. The energies were as oppressive as a mountain. Lin Feng condensed Devamara Culpa strength in his fist and punched out furiously. The mountain imprint broke apart. At the same time, Lin Feng ran forwards, a cage appearing and surrounding his opponent, who shouted in surprise. However, he was trapped and couldn't move. Lights appeared around him. "You dared come onto the stage with such a cultivation level," Lin Feng said calmly. His voice was sharp and pierced through his enemy's ears and heart, driving him insane. But the lights were becoming more and more intense, and the man couldn't move anymore. The man shouted furiously again, waving his hands. An ancient imprint appeared again, and moved towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng let the imprint hit him. It crashed into him and broke apart. Lin Feng then punched out in the direction of his opponent's head. If that punch reached his opponent's head, it might explode. However, Lin Feng's fist stopped in the air. He didn't punch his opponent, he just fixedly stared at him icily. The 9 netherworld source appeared in his eyes, and a demon song resonated in his opponent's head. Cultivators are determined. They only think about cultivation. You are so weak. You're not talented, and you decided to help Ji Chang's club only because you hoped they'd give you gifts. Or maybe because they threatened you. What are you doing on the battle stage? Shame on you, whispered Lin Feng, releasing cursing strength. That cultivator's heart was pounding madly. You are so weak. How can you even call yourself a cultivator? People like you should give up. Even if you were lucky to become a student at Champion University, you'll always have to depend on other people. Just like the members of Ji Chang's club. People will always despise you. You're like a little dog. No, a little mouse, or even worse, a small grasshopper. Lin Feng's cursing energies were carried by his voice and echoed in his opponent's brain. His opponent was going insane. A mouse, a dog, a grasshopper. He didn't deserve to be a cultivator. Shut the hell up, shouted that person furiously. The air rumbled as Lin Feng suddenly threw a casual overhand punch at his opponent, who fell to his knees violently. Lin Feng lowered his head and put his foot on his opponent's face, staring at him. The members of Ji Chang's club are looking at you. And I'm looking at you. You're on the battle stage, don't you feel pathetic? Said Lin Feng mockingly. That person put his hands on his face. He had the impression his head was going to explode. He was going insane. Piss off now and think about what just happened, said Lin Feng disdainfully. The cultivator got up shakily and walked away before stopping and shouting. No! He suddenly rose up into the air and shouted furiously. He was going insane. How cruel, thought the crowd, especially the members of Ji Chang's club. How cruel indeed. Lin Feng had put his foot on that guy's face and told him he wasn't worth calling a cultivator. He was merciless. Ji Chang's club's members were staring at Lin Feng. They hadn't thought that Lin Feng could be so cruel. Even Tiantai's members were surprised and sighed as they looked at Lin Feng's back. That guy was their friend. He was like a brother to them. It was strange to see him so cruel. He looked like a demon. Lin Feng glanced at the members of Ji Chang's club icily. People who helped Ji Chang's club were his enemies. Nobody could blame him for being cruel. I know that many of you weren't members of Ji Chang's club before. I could participate in any of the following battles. If you are smart, you'll just leave. Otherwise, I'll show you what you're worth to me as well, Lin Feng said aggressively. Did they all want to be treated like the guy Lin Feng had just humiliated? Chapter 1796. Sentient Beings Buddhist Enlightenment. Everybody looked at Yuan Ho. He was furious. He had not expected that. Maybe Lin Feng would fight the next one too? Your turn, hissed Yuan Ho, frowning. He looked like an evil snake. Lin Feng looked at Wu, who had broken through to the Huang Qi layer at the same time as him. He was a supernatural bird who had always wanted to surpass him, and was very strong. Ji Wuyo had the Cyan Dragon Totem. Wu was actually a good opponent for Ji Wuyo. Lin Feng didn't necessarily want his fellows to win. He wanted them to prove how strong Tiantai was. Ji Wuyo was the first student. He had been the first student for a very long time. When Lin Feng had just joined the university, Ji Wuyo was already the first student. Even if Tiantai's members lost against him, that wasn't a problem. They had nothing to be ashamed of. Wu, go and fight, ordered Lin Feng. Wu looked at Lin Feng sharply, somewhat angrily. Why did Lin Feng make him go up and fight? Nevertheless, Wu jumped up and landed on the battle stage. He glared at the members of Ji Chang's club. Who wants to fight? Shouted Wu furiously. His voice echoed far into the distance. Ji Wuyo jumped up and landed on the battle stage, releasing qi. The crowd also heard dragon chants. Ji Chang's club has no other cultivator. You either send scapegoats or Ji Wuyo, said someone from Tiantai mockingly. Everybody burst out into laughter. The crowd already understood that Ji Chang's club couldn't compete with Tiantai at all. Dragon chants spread in the air, the supernatural bird whistled. The battle stage shook violently. Bestial chi invaded the whole atmosphere. A cyan dragon totem appeared. Wu turned into a sun supernatural bird and clashed against Ji Wuyo. Their collisions were insane. Wu looked obstinate and unruly. His sharp energies dashed to the skies. Powerful sun cosmic energies shot everywhere. The battle stage started burning. It was an incredible sight. "Piss off," shouted Ji Wuyo furiously. He punched Wu's wing furiously. Wu moved backwards a few centimeters, and then suddenly rose up in the air. He never gave up. "That's enough," said Lin Feng to Wu. Wu was extremely fast, and had an incredible physical form. But still he couldn't compete with Ji Wuyo. He was already badly injured. He couldn't get punched again, so that was enough. Wu looked at Lin Feng sharply and whistled, then flew away from the battle stage. Even though Ji Wuyo had won that battle, he wasn't happy. He was furious as he went back to his friends. Lin Feng was still humiliating them. Wu is a supernatural bird, a genius from the animal clan of the vast celestial ancient city. Even though he's obstinate and unruly, he still obeys Lin Feng. Tiantai's strength is unfathomable and enigmatic. In 10 years, Tiantai will become another Ji Chang's club, thought the crowd. Another group was rising. After that, Ji Chang's club had to choose another fighter. Lin Feng glanced at the members of Ji Chang's club icily. They all noticed that Lin Feng was looking at them and shivered. If Lin Feng fought against them like he had fought against the other guy, then they'd be profoundly humiliated. They didn't know how strong Lin Feng really was. What could they do if they had to face Lin Feng? Therefore, the members of Ji Chang's club remained silent. Yuan Ho glanced at everyone. He didn't know who to choose. "Yuan Ho, you are lucky that the Star Group is one of the 3 groups of Ji Chang's club. You accepted the fight against Tiantai. You offended them. Now make members of Ji Chang's club fight against Tiantai. Even if you lose, it doesn't matter anymore. You already lost face anyway," someone spoke up at that moment. It wasn't a member of Tiantai though. The crowd looked over. Someone in a fur robe was talking, his hands in his sleeves. "Jing Shou." Yuan Ho looked at Jing Shou icily. Jing Shou had refused to join Ji Chang's club, and now he was making fun of them. "I'll fight," said Yuan Jing. She couldn't stand being looked at mocking by everyone anymore. She jumped onto the stage. "Princess," protested the surprised Yuan Ho. He was unhappy. He glanced nervously at Lin Feng. Yuan Jing couldn't compete with Lin Feng. Ji Wuyo groaned quietly. Lin Feng just laughed. "I am not a coward like you members of Ji Chang's club. I'll show you how Tiantai deals with people like you. Brother, go and fight." When Yuan Jing jumped onto the battle stage, Lin Feng sent Tian Qi back then. He had lost against her because she had used a secret skill. Now more than a year had passed, he could take his revenge. "Back then you lost against me. Today you will lose again," Yuan Jing proclaimed confidently. How could she lose against someone she had defeated before? Tian Qi had no hope in her opinion. "A mountain is a mountain, water is water," replied Tian Qi, putting his palms together. Holy lights shone as an ancient Buddha appeared behind him. The holy lights illuminated the earth and the sky. A mountain was still a mountain. Tian Qi was still Tian Qi, meaningless words. "You're ignorant and ridiculous. The 4 seasons sword will destroy your mountains and rivers," shouted back Yuan Jing. A 4 seasons sword lanced at Tian Qi. The energies were dazzling. 4 kinds of sword meaning descended from the sky at the same time, and suppressed the holy lights. Tian Qi closed his eyes, and an infinity of holy lights illuminated the atmosphere. Buddha shadows appeared everywhere. "Die!" shouted Yuan Jing furiously. Sword lights dazzled and pierced through the Buddha shadows. Only one of Tian Qi's Buddha shadows broke apart, however. Yuan Jing continued, looking even more furious. Suddenly, the Buddha shadows were surrounding her in a dazzling formation. "A mountain is a mountain, water is water." Lin Feng frowned and fixedly staring at Tian Qi. He looked like a Buddha illusion now. It was impossible to know which shadow was Tian Qi. "Our brother is achieving enlightenment," said Ho Qing Lin to Lin Feng. He smiled in a resplendent way. He knew that Tianqi wasn't the Tianqi they knew in the past anymore. "Brother, what's going on?" asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng, Tianqi is a Buddhist cultivator. He chants mantras to achieve enlightenment. Back then, he accidentally obtained a Buddhist skill, a mysterious one, called the sentient being's Buddhist enlightenment. It's different from other skills. It's very complicated. But if you understand it, you can become monstrously strong. The celestial evolution holy scriptures allowed him to become much stronger, and to understand the sentient being's Buddhist enlightenment. Ho Qing Lin replied to Lin Feng using telepathy as he smiled. He's definitely going to win this battle. On the battle stage, the sentient being's Buddhist enlightenment surrounded Yu Wenjing while Tianqi chanted mantras, his voice blocking the four-seasoned sword. Yu Wenjing finally released her secret strength, which bombarded the Buddha shadows. They kept breaking apart one after another, but it only made the other Buddha shadows angry. An enlightenment mantra spread out in the sky, and Yu Wenjing's soul started shaking. Buddha imprints descended from the heavens and crashed down onto her. She fell down to her knees. Yu Wenjing raised her head and looked at Tianqi icily. The Buddha shadows had surrounded her, and her face had turned deathly pale. Surprisingly, she had lost against someone she had defeated in the past. Everybody was staring at her. She felt humiliated, and her cheeks burned. It was unbearable. People looked at Tianqi. They knew Yu Wenjing was strong, but Tianqi was stronger. The mysterious Buddhist monk was incredibly strong. He had become much stronger than before. People were amazed. "You lost." They couldn't see who had said it. Yu Wenjing started releasing sword energies, but Yu Wenho shouted, "Princess!" Yu Wenjing was stupefied. Her beautiful eyes lost their glitter. She had lost. Her silhouette flickered as she left the battle stage. She had lost. Tiantai had won. Yu Wenjing had lost. On Ji Chang's club's side, apart from Ji Wuyo, nobody could win. Ho Qing Lin, Shi Men Xiao, and the others could all win unless Ji Wuyo fought every time. Bzz. A strong wind started blowing. Ji Wuyo landed on the battle stage again. He had his cyan dragon totem behind him. He looked proud, glaring at the members of Tiantai arrogantly and said aggressively, "You come, all of you." How aggressive. The crowd was delighted. Ji Wuyo wanted to show everyone how strong he was. He wanted to fight against every member of Tiantai. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.